the most magical time of the year, right? Footy season. This season, you can get your footy live and ad-free on the ABC Listen app.
Unbelievable.
AFL, NRL, men's, women's. Whatever you fix, we've got you covered.
He does, he bounces it through.
Every goal, try, mark and tackle. Called by ABC Sports' expert commentary team.
A wonderful goal. Game, set, bingo.
100% pure footy, live and ad-free on the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL Premiership season.
AFL. On your radio.
On digital. And take us with you on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
It's round 22 action in the AFL, but every game feels like a final already. A win, you can move right up the ladder. A loss, you can slide all the way down. We find ourselves here at Perth Stadium for 5th v 6. Fremantle playing host to Geelong. With the results earlier today, the Cats with a very good chance to move into the top 4 with a win. The Dockers a chance to put some pressure on those sides at the top. Mitch Turner here in commentary with you. A few late changes to bring you from both sides. The Cats, the first to pull the trigger. Gary Rowan has gone out of the side. Was supposed to come back in, returning from concussion. He has not gone up in time. O'Sheen Mullen replaces him. Their sub will be Mullen as he comes into the side late. For the Dockers, a host of changes to their actual side, but the biggest one came just about 15 to 20 minutes ago. Sean Darcy managed through the week with injury, has not gotten up for today's game. He is a late out. And Matthew Taberner returns to the side for the first time since round 5 when he played against Port Adelaide. As I said, Mitch Turner here with you for Saturday Footy on ABC Sport. Alongside me is Akash Fodder. G'day to Akash.
Good afternoon, Mitch, and what a glorious day in Perth for some top 8 football. So looking forward to, Jeremy Cameron, 250 games, and Jordan Clark for Freo, his 100th game, 68 in a row that he's played for Freo, up against, of course, the side he was originally drafted to. So a couple of players looking to put out a good performance, but how do Freo stop Jeremy Cameron, who is in red-hot form, coming off 6 goals against the Crows last week?
Game 250, as you said, an underage selection to the Giants in 2010 from Dartmoor in Victoria, made his debut back in 2012 for the Giants against Sydney in round 1. Played 171 games for the Giants and now plays game 250. He's a 3-time All-Australian, a fairest and best winner at both clubs, a Coleman medalist, 9-time leading goal kicker at the Giants, 1-time for Geelong, and of course a premiership player in 2022. Jordan Clark picked 15 to the Cats back in 2018 from Guildford Grammar School, and Claremont made his debut back in 2019 against Collingwood at the G in front of 78,000 fans there. A few less here today, but still a pretty good occasion. The weather's turned it on for us, not a cloud in the sky. We'll get down to Bridget Lacey shortly for some conditions. Our experts, though, in the box, All-Australian former Dockers captain Cara Antonio, former Eagle, and of course Collingwood premiership player Sharad Wellingham. G'day to you both.
Good afternoon. I've seen you both already this morning, yes. But hello to you.
Hello, Shaz.
Hello, team.
Cara riding on a high after the Dockers got a pre-season victory in the women's last night over the Eagles. Shaz's probably not as happy.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, good start. We've obviously got another game next weekend against the Pies. But looking forward to today's contest. Beautiful day here at Perth Stadium.
It is marvellous. It's 27 degrees. It is sunny, absolutely perfect.
Feels like
February.
Yeah.
Plenty of shade on the ground, but it is nice and warm out there. Perfect conditions for footy. The Dockers look absolutely terrific in their heritage Guernsey, the one they wore with the anchor on it from 1995 to 2000. Retro round for them today. The toss of the coin has just occurred in the middle of the ground. Akash Fodder.
Yeah, the milestone man, Jeremy Cameron, tossing the coin there for Geelong up against Andy Brayshaw, Fremantle's stand-in captain, and Jeremy Cameron won the toss, and Geelong will kick to the Graham Farmer freeway end of Perth Stadium to start this contest.
Bit chaotic with all the late changes, but a good time to go down to the boundary and check in with the 5th member of our team, Bridget Lacey.
Yeah, thanks, Mitch. Shaz said it was 27. I think it's a bit closer to 24, but it is glorious here. Blue skies overhead. Still a bit of the sunshine across the stadium as we start this one. A bit of a breeze heading towards the Graham Farmer Freeway end, if any, at the moment. Still plenty to file in. We're expecting a big crowd. The starting benches for Freo, Fife, Wagner, Banfield and Johnson, with the starting sub, Carl Warner. And for Geelong, the late in O'Sheen Mullen.
Nat Fife back into the side for the Dockers. No Josh Tracy, out with a knee issue. Mitch Duncan does return for the Cats, but no De Koning as well. Plenty to play for here at Perth Stadium. It's the Dockers hosting the Cats. Two teams pushing for the top four. Here's a cash photograph for the opening bounce.
And it'll be Reece Stanley up against Luke Jackson as the umpire slams it into the turf. Stanley with a double-handed tap forward, but Jackson does the roving. Handballs over to Sarong. From the bullseye, he sends the Dockers inside forward 50. But over the back, taking the mark, is Kolajasny for the Cats. He has it at full-back and moves the ball out to the southern side of the ground to Atkins.
Heath Chapman looks like he's got the role in Jeremy Cameron today too. One to watch.
Atkins has it, southern side of the ground, right half back for the Cats. Comes inboard to Stewart, who flares it out now to the northern side of the ground to Guthrie. Guthrie finds Dempsey, favourite for the rising star in the bright pink boots today. Defensive side of the wing, he goes short to the local boy. Lawson Humphreys takes the mark right in front of the interchange gates. Nice start from the Cats, controlling the ball well. Humphreys plays on, kicks up towards half forward. Ollie Henry, Draper brings the ball down. Chapman gets the handball up to Clark. Jackson running off half back. Under a bit of pressure, gets it back to Draper, and the Dockers run through the centre of the ground. Sturt has it. Handball missed Switkowski. Sharp gathers in front of the gates. He handballs forward now to Switkowski. Along the northern side, and he sends Fremantle inside 50. One more. Up in front was Henry. That's Jack Henry for Geelong. Ball trails over the back. Stewart and Amos. Amos did well, put him under pressure. Hayden Young picks it up, and he's tackled by Kolajasny, and the umpire will ball it up.
Both teams finding their feet here. Geelong in the traditional white kit with the blue hoops. The Dockers, ball goes up. Jackson taps it down. Geelong get a clearing, tumbling kick. Atkins onto it. Handball over the top to Dempsey. Now to close. Has a slip running off half back. Still managed to get a handball out to a teammate. Now going down the wing, looking for the big Neil. He was under pressure late from Cox coming front on. He's given away the free kick. Manor continues his run coming past. Didn't get the handball. So all in the hands of the big man, Neil, on the wing. Kicks it up towards the forward line, looking for a target. Flying across was Chapman. Couldn't take the mark. Walker at ground level. He gathers it. He's gathered by two Cats. He's been...
Well, it's holding the ball, and it was
they're
because
they're pointing the other way, though.
He fended off.
He elected to fend.
Yeah, the first one.
Yeah, I thought it was holding the ball. It has been holding the ball to Jeremy Cameron. The umpire was pointing the other way the whole time, though, so it will be a holding the ball free kick to Jeremy Cameron. Tight on the boundary left forward pocket, about 40 metres out.
Not sure if this shot suits Jeremy Cameron's swing of the ball, but you never know with a talent like he is.
Premiership player, Coleman medalist, a great of the modern era, Jeremy Cameron in game 250 slots it from the tightest of angles. And the Cats open the scoring here at Perth Stadium. One straight six. The Dockers yet to score. 3 minutes played. Saturday footy on ABC Sport.
Well, that was the reverse commentator's Moz. Said it might be a bit hard for him, but yeah, that is supreme skill to be able to nail that 40 metres out along the boundary. It's a tough one, isn't it? Because Walker, he gets done holding the ball. It's a really quick decision to try and fend somebody off, and you get closed down in that kind of pincer where players are coming at you from everywhere. But the kick from Jeremy Cameron was remarkable.
It was indeed, Sharon. A brilliant start for Geelong and their milestone man, Jeremy Cameron. Game 250, that was his 630th goal. Back in the middle, Stanley wins the tap. Dangerfield soccers it forward. Close coming up from half forward, he can't gather. Manar does. Clever kick backwards to Stanley, who sends the Cats inside forward 50 again. Ball at the back, Cameron. Well done, Cox. Stengel applies the pressure. Close, Dempsey off the ground. And it's Ollie Dempsey who kicks the second goal for the Cats. Well, he's the favourite for the rising star, and that was a sharp bit of work. Great forward pressure from Geelong, and they've got their second goal. They're 2 straight 12. Fremantle yet to score. 4.5 minutes gone here on Saturday footy on ABC Sport.
Just another goal from pressure. It was spoken about during the week that Essendon got the better of Fremantle in their back half, and 2 tackles, 2 big tackles just to create turnover. The first one, Jeremy Cameron slots, and then that one just based on pressure, making the most of opportunity. Really strong start from the Cats.
So Geelong 2 quick goals. Ollie Dempsey following Jeremy Cameron. Matt Johnson into the middle.
It was really
side.
It was really smart from Manor, Manor. Really smart where he was getting tackled and just got the ball onto the boot. Keeps the ball alive.
Ball back in the middle. Jackson v Stanley. Stanley gets a tap. Dangerfield coming through in the wrong direction. Was able to break a tackle. Kicks it towards Stengel over his head. Bounces to Henry. This is Ollie. Dances around. Little spin. Kick into the pocket. It was too hot for both Cameron and Stengel. And it bounces out of bounds.
So red hot start from the Cats, and Fremantle really haven't had their hands on it and been able to control any of the play so far.
Their ball in. About 35 around. From the Cats attacking end. Kicking towards the Graham Farmer Freeway end of Perth Stadium. Ball spun back in. Jackson to the front. Neal, though, batted it over the top. It bounces out once more for another boundary throw in. A little closer this time. The umpire will put his toes on the line about 10 to 15 metres around from the right behind post. 2 rucks. Stand deep. Neal and Jackson again. Ball gets tapped over the back. Wagner couldn't gather for the Dockers. Walker came through. He was dispossessed. Players crash in. We'll have another ball up. This time about 35 metres out from the Cats attacking goal. They lead 2 straight 12. The Dockers yet to score. 6 minutes played.
Umpire throws it up. Jackson with the double palm down. Fife gathers. Sweeps the handball wide to Chapman. He's under pressure. He's tackled. And he's going to be gone here. He is. Another great rundown tackle in the Geelong forward 50. And it's Ollie Henry.
Definitely missed high tackle there.
Yeah, the local crowd not happy.
Oh.
Feel like Heath Chapman should have got a free kick for high, but instead...
Watching the replay, it's pretty touch and go.
He kind of sees it coming, though, doesn't he? Yeah, it's a tough one.
Ollie Henry has a chance to make it a very fast start for Geelong, going for their third. From 40 metres out on a 45-degree angle to the right, he nails it. And Geelong have the first 3 of this top 8 clash here at Perth Stadium. They're 3 straight 18. Fremantle yet to score. We've gone 7 minutes in the opening term here on Saturday Footy on ABC Sport.
Just a clear focus, clearly, for Geelong. They've had, to put it into context, 6 tackles for the game, 5 inside forward 50. They know when ball hits the deck that's where the game can be won and lost, and just pounced on that, didn't they? Again, probably touch and go with that one, but you've got to make the most of your opportunities, which they have early.
He ducked just a little bit, duck of the
kind
shoulder. The umpire was right there.
Saw it coming. Yeah.
Must have seen it. 3 straight to the Cats. They have jumped the Dockers.
Red hot start.
Haven't beaten them since 2021. The Dockers with the last 3 wins in the matchups. Ball back in the middle. Comes down from the ruck. Knock Young tackled immediately by Bose. Umpire will take the ball back. We go again. Stanley v Jackson. Jackson got more of a fist onto it. Went over the head of Fife. Broon stepped back into trouble. Managed to get the ball out to Humphries. His handball in front of Tui, the Irishman. Running on the wing. Had Switkowski to contend with. Couldn't beat him. Ball back in congestion. Now Bose goes in. Tries to shake it. Sackle. The crowd want ball, but there wasn't a lot he could do inside confines. So ball up between wing and half forward for the Cats. Jackson, this time hand over the top to Young. Couldn't find a teammate with his handball. Back to Jackson now. Johnson spilt it. Ball still bobbling around in congestion. Eventually Young was able to get a kick forward. Switkowski. Strong mark on the second attempt in the middle of the ground. Handball to Wagner. Back to Switkowski. Now to Johnson. Wagner. His handball forward looking for Ryan. Couldn't gather. And the Cats come in. Still inside the centre square to save the day. Once again, Bose crashing into hold possession. Ball tossed up in the air. Stanley v Jackson comes down, hits the ground. Jackson roves it himself, gives it to Wagner. And he's tied up. Saturday afternoon footy on ABC Sport. The Cats still lead by 18.
Another ball up in the middle. Jackson and Stanley at it. Broon on ground level. Pressure applied by Fremantle. And we'll have another ball up. Just the attacking side of the centre circles for Fremantle, kicking towards the city end of Perth Stadium. It's the Cats by 3 straight goals. Wagner off the back of the stoppage, does well, breaks one tackle. Goes short and finds Jackson. Still inside the centre square, Fremantle. Jackson handballs off to a running Johnson on the left boot. Puts Fremantle inside forward 50. Too high for Banfield. Ball over the back to Blitzarves for the Geelong. He handballed looking for Jack Henry, who professionally sees the ball out and over the boundary line, and will be thrown back in the left forward pocket for the Dockers.
Had a conversation this morning, Sharon, on Sports Talk about the flag bearers at the Olympics. Kaylee McEwen and Matt Wern to close the ceremony for Australia.
Spun back in the forward pocket for Fremantle. Can they get their first goal? Taberner doing the ruck work in the forward line. But Dempsey spirals it out of defence for Geelong. But sitting back in the hole, as he often is Luke Ryan for the Dockers. Flares it out to the northern side where he finds Jeremy Sharp. Fremantle set up for another attempt to get inside 50 and they get a shot on goal. With Brandon Walker now. Still 80 metres from home. Walker runs out wide and kicks long and deep into the right forward pocket. Big pack of players up. And Stanley, as good ruckman should do, getting back in the hole and punching it over the boundary line for another throw-in. This time in the right forward pocket for Fremantle. They're still scoreless. The Cats, 3 straight 18. 11 minutes gone here. Saturday footy, I should say, on ABC Sport.
Dockers need to find something. Taberner in the ruck against Stanley. The two wrestle. Gets out the back. Taberner rows it. Kicks towards goal. High up and under. Amos in front. Henry knocks it away from him. Johnson coming through for the Dockers. He couldn't gather. Amos tries to just drive his way through the pack. Was tackled, though, immediately by Bowes. So ball up. 15 metres out from the Dockers' goal. Taberner again against Stanley. Stanley taps it into space. Dempsey gathers. Handball stolen by Young. Off to 5. Steps around 1. Snaps on goal. It's bending. It's bending. It's banging into the post. Fremantle's first score of the day is a minor one. One straight behind. They trail the Cats 3 straight 18. A 17-point margin. Coming on 12 minutes in this first term at Perth Stadium.
Tom Stewart with the kick-in duties for Geelong goes out into the right back pocket where he finds Duncan. Goes long up to the wing, out into the sunshine. Fremantle win it back. No, it's a free kick going Geelong's way. Going to Zach Tui, has a defensive side of that southern wing for Geelong. Cats move it forward, couple of short kicks, and now it's with Jeremy Cameron. He wheels inside onto that left boot and sends Geelong inside 50. Dempsey's at the back. Jackson flies, ball at the back here. Stanley runs onto it and runs into the open goal. Geelong have the first 4. Well, they've come in and it's a hot start for Geelong. And Fremantle, well, they are yet to wake up. It's Geelong 4 straight 24. Fremantle just the 1 behind. And we played 12 and a half minutes here at Perth Stadium.
It's a little bit of a shock for Fremantle to be in this position. They've just been caught napping, really. They haven't had any hands on the ball, haven't been able to control it, and when they were going into their forward 50, it was so congested. There was literally every single Fremantle and Geelong player were in front of, I think, Walker, who had the ball in that last entry inside 50, and then Geelong on the other way are just able to move so freely at the moment, and they're hitting the contest, they're getting numbers there, and Fremantle just aren't able to stay with them at the moment.
Bridget Lacey downstairs.
Luke Jackson's just come for his first break and Pat Voss is into the ruck.
There you go. No Sean Darcy. The bounce skewed from the umpire. No Sean Darcy for the Dockers, if you are just joining us. A late out. Managed through the week. Didn't get up. Matthew Taberner is into the side. Gary Rowan out for the Cats. O'Sheen Mullen in as the Dockers win it from the restart. It's Voss who follows up the work from the middle. Kicks it high inside the forward 50. Punched away by the Cats. Witkowski trying to gather for the Dockers. Eventually does. Hard up against the boundary line. Senders it back to the hot spot. O'Meara flying through. Can't mark. Gathered by Guthrie at ground level. Little handball out in front of Atkins. Now to Broon. His kick out towards the wing into the path of Dempsey. Too hot. Can't gather. Rolls through the interchange gates for a boundary throw in. The crowd once again wanting insufficient intent, maybe watching last night's game between Collingwood and Sydney. A couple of those paid very late. Not forthcoming here. Ball spun back in. Blitzarves in the ruck in front of Voss. Tapped it down. Coming through Johnson for Fremantle. He's tied up. Ball tossed up. The AFL logo right here on centre wing. Voss tapped it down. Quick hands through Sharp and Clark into the path of Johnson. He couldn't gather, eventually did, coughed it up, but the ball's coming back. As Cameron was kicking the ball inside the forward 50, it's going against Patrick Voss, and it's coming all the way back to Tom Atkins. Atkins swings wide. Humphreys, boy from Wickham here in WA, goes short to Myers. Kick and a half from home. Runs around. Not as low as he normally kicks. High up and under. Top of the goal square. Cox punches it away from O'Meara in the end. The Dockers trying to clear. Sarong. Quick hands out to Chapman. Then the 100-gamer in Clark. A wobbly kick out to the wing. Too wide. Too long. Out of bounds on the full. Humphreys will take the free kick for Geelong.
Humphreys brings it back in. Goes to Jack Henry, who has it on the logo. Northern side of the ground. Umpire calls him to play on. So he goes back to Humphreys. Humphreys moves it quickly to Brian Myers. Broke the season goal assist record last year, Brian Myers. Wheels around on that right boot with that unique kicking style, and he just spots up Patrick Dangerfield. Inches inside the field of play at left half forward. Dangerfield. This will be a tough kick for goal. Man on the mark, 48 metres out. Dangerfield in to start his run-up right in front of Bridget Lacey there on the boundary. Having to ask Bridget to move out the way. The Dangerfield from the junction of 50 and the boundary line plays on, kicks straight into Jordan Clark. Great smother by the 100-gamer, and Clark is off, takes a bounce. Has Frederick, finds him now by hands. Frederick has another option over the top. It's happened. Oh, he panicked. Michael Frederick had options, and he ran straight into Jack Henry of Geelong, who just shoved him out of bounds. And what could have been a break inside 50 for Fremantle turns into a boundary throw-in. Just the attacking side of the broadcast wing.
Needed to give the handball.
Yeah, his feet were going faster than his mind.
Blitzarves wins the tap. Fife gathers to Sarong, to Johnson. He loses it. Dangerfield tries to crash through. Ball in dispute. Voss goes after it. Fremantle fans want a free kick. Johnson now handballs at the feet of Fife. The two-time Brownlow medalist does well. Gets it up to Sarong. Now back to Ryan in the middle of the ground, and he goes out wide to left half forward, where Sturt takes the mark. Still 60 metres from home. Sam Sturt. Low pass inside 50 at the bootlaces of Amos, who does well to gather. Gives it back to Sturt from just inside 50. Pulls the kick to a dangerous area. Sarong! Well, not sure if that was a shank off the inside of the boot or whether Sam Sturt meant that, but he's done well to spot up Caleb Sarong.
It was a definite kick to a dangerous spot. I don't know if he was trying to put it on Sarong, but
he was free about 10 seconds before it, and then by the time he kicked it, he wasn't free.
I also don't know why. I think it was Blitzarves could have impacted that and just elected not to.
I don't know why he chose to kick there. It was a 1-on-4 as well. Anyway, it's worked out.
Caleb Sarong, the form midfielder for Fremantle this season. From 40 metres out, directly in front. And when the team needs it, Caleb Sarong stands up. That's the Dockers' first of the afternoon. Margin back to 17 points. Fremantle 1-1-7. Geelong 4 straight 24. Your experts on Saturday footy here on ABC Sport. Premiership Magpie, Sharad Wellingham, AFLW All-Australian, Cara Antonio.
Well, they made that a lot harder than it needed to be. The Dockers that shifted lanes, which was really smart, but then Sturt, I think it was, missed the easy hit-up kick to
Amos.
Was it Amos? Yeah, and then again puts it to a dangerous spot, but
that's getting scored against if he doesn't mark there.
Yeah, 100%. 4v1. Caleb Sarong just protected the drop of the ball, but no, you're right.
It was the kick out wide from Ryan. They've got to play with some width because Geelong are doing such a good job of getting back. You've got to go around them.
Jackson jumps under it in the middle. Stanley tapped it down straight though to Brayshaw, who's able to spin around, kick towards half forward. Holmes unable to take the mark. Fife comes through, dispossessed. The Cats win it back momentarily. Get it to Holmes. Tries to get the give and go with Dempsey. It's knocked away from him. Then Myers coughs it up. Fife just bulldozed Dempsey off the ball. Then Brayshaw is taken to ground strongly by Patrick Dangerfield. Now the ball up between wing and half forward, favouring the Dockers. Avoided their first goalless quarter since the round 6 derby. Goalless opening term, that is. The Cats this time from the restart. win the ball. Goes up the line. Cox was able to work Neil off it for Fremantle. They win possession back. Draper retreats back inside his defensive 50 to Walker. Now comes wide. Finds Ryan just beyond right half back. Short further afield to Sharp.
Jeremy Sharp has it at right half back for the Dockers. Short kick. Oh, it's a poor kick. Made it tough for Brayshaw and his bootlaces. Dempsey comes in to apply the pressure and wins it for Geelong. And Dangerfield spirals the Cats back inside 50. Stengel was in a great position. Walker did well to bring the ball to ground. He's got support from Luke Ryan. And under a little bit of pressure from Tyson Stengel, Ryan sees the ball out over the boundary line, deep in the left forward pocket for Geelong.
Geelong's pressure has been outstanding. Currently 17 tackles to 3, and they've had a lot more of the ball as well. Just making the most of their opportunities.
Geelong by 17 points in the first quarter. Jackson wins a tap, but Geelong win it off the stoppage. Comes to Myers. He turns on his right boot, snaps towards goal. That'll be touch and go, but I think it's through. It's like Jeremy Sharp diving full length on the goal line. And from this vantage point, I think it was through.
She's called.
Well, the soft call is touched, and I think you're right, Cara. Looks like Sharp has got hands on that before the whole of the ball crossed the line. So we await confirmation of the score on the scoreboard.
It's not. The first angle seemed like the better one, didn't it? And now we've gone further away and we're not on a side-on angle.
First one was like
right
shadowy though.
Yeah.
My gut feel live was that it was a goal, but then
the umpire is
first replay thought
best position,
best possible position, like a metre and a bit away, right on the line. Like if you can't spot that, then we might as well just get rid of umpires, because you cannot be in a better position than that.
You're right.
And the soft signal was touched. We're still waiting. We're still
soft signal was touched.
Soft signal was touched.
I don't think
it's just in between frames. That's the tough thing. It's that little jumpy frame where the second frame Sharp's touched it, but it's over the line. The first frame hasn't, but there's a frame in between.
Yeah.
Review complete. Looking at these angles, there is insufficient evidence to determine whether the ball was touched.
So it's behind the first blemish. First blemish on the scoreboard for Geelong, so they will be 4-1-25 to Fremantle 1-1-7. After a long review, it's an umpire's call. So we're behind to the Cats. Their lead is 18 points, 22 minutes played in the first term here at Perth Stadium.
Bit of a jeer from the Freo faithful. Ryan, as usual, kick-in duties for him. Kicks up the wing for the Dockers. Jackson couldn't take the mark. Banfield coming through. Somehow got out of traffic to the run of Wagner. Then to Draper. His handball over the top to Walker. Trying to run down the wing. Little don't argue on Mitch Duncan. Handball's wide to Sharp. Comes back inboard on his right boot. It's a floater towards half forward. Voss can't mark for the Dockers. Holmes spilt it for the Cats. And then coming through and tackled immediately is Jai Amos. So the Dockers have transitioned it fairly quickly. It's 60 metres out from their goal. Stanley against Jackson. Stanley wins the tap over the top. Sarong comes through. Couldn't gather. Free kick paid. Push in the back. It's going to Sarong.
Push in the back, hold him around, take your pick, really. All over him.
Atkins is the offending player. Sarong, quick little switch into the centre square. Walker has the ball. Every player on the ground in front of him. Clark runs past, gets the handball, now kicks inside the forward 50. Big pack flies. Stewart punches it away for Geelong. Spills out to Lawson Humphries. Clearing kick. Going back with courage was Clark. Couldn't take the mark. Cameron knocks it forward for Geelong. Tries to follow it up. Walker gets there first. Terrific tackle by Jeremy Cameron. Play on. Ball spills free. The Dockers win it back. Cox manages to get himself a little bit of space to Clark, and Fremantle have retreated all the way back in defensive 50. And as Cara Antonio says, Jeremy Cameron limping to the interchange bench. It was a brilliant rundown tackle.
Great tackle.
But he has appeared to hurt himself. So Bridget Lacey will keep an eye on that downstairs for us. Meanwhile, the Dockers have moved the ball up the field on the outer wing through Walker and now Sharp.
Potentially a lower leg injury, maybe hopefully just a corky for him in that tackle.
Sharp short infield to Wagner, who has the ball just backward of centre wing. The Cats 4-1-25 lead the Dockers 1-1-7-25 played in the first.
Wagner goes for a trot and sends the Dockers up towards left half forward, but Geelong win it back. Zach Guthrie, handball back to Tui, tied against the boundary line. Kicks up looking for Neal, clears that contest. Myers will be first to it. Manages to get a boot to it, but he kicks straight into Walker. Well done by the Dogs fender, but then he kicks the ball straight into Shannon Neal, and it ricochets off the big Cats forward and out of bounds for a boundary throw in. Right half forward, about 60 metres around from the Geelong goal. The Cats still leading by 18 points. 25 minutes gone in the first term on a glorious Saturday afternoon here in Perth. It'll be Jackson and Stanley to do the ruck work. Shallow throw in. Stanley got there first. Fremantle have numbers at the back of the stoppage though. Sharp shares it with Clark and gets it back to Brayshaw. Back to Jeremy Sharp. Putting themselves under pressure, Fremantle. Sharp kicks high up the wing and Frederick in front position takes a good mark at left half back. He's got options in the middle of the ground. Here's Corey Wagner. Handballs to a running Brayshaw. Brayshaw goes long and deep inside 50. Voss is in a good position. He drops the mark. Hit one he should have taken. Switkowski roves and gathers, gives it to Johnson. Breaks one tackle. Stanley just puts a boot into it to try and clear it for Geelong, but the ball is back with Fremantle. Sarong. Handballs back to Chapman. Chapman will send the Dockers into the right forward pocket. Voss at the back. Taberner crashes the pack. And at ground level, Tom Stewart, under some pressure from Patrick Voss, sees the ball out over the boundary line in the right forward pocket for Fremantle. The Dockers still trail by 18 points.
Tabner just had to leave that contest isolated. He took his man with him. It's just not a smart play.
Probably looking to make an impact in his first game back for a while. He's in the ruck on this occasion. Stanley for the Cats beat him though. Taps it out into the path of Duncan. Handballs to Tui, then over the top to Holmes. Now Stengel steps around an opponent, gets it to Manor. The Cats trying to work it through hands up the wing. It's come unstuck. Frederick steals it back for the Dockers. Gives it to Ryan. His kick smothered. Jackson just comes through and fists the ball forward. Young pushed away from it. Myers wins it back with Geelong. Little handball to Stewart on the left. Kicks it up the wing. Flying from the side was Colin Jasny. Couldn't mark. Spills off hands. Walker gives it to Ryan for the Dockers. He's kicked towards half forward. No one there. But Blixarves, an experienced campaigner, takes the mark. Now the Cats move it through Myers to Holmes. Has the ball just backward of centre wing. Now called to move, runs, kicks it up the wing, looking for a big target. Flying from the back was Ollie Henry. Couldn't read the ball well. Ryan at the back tapped it for the Dockers to Draper. Now Wagner, he's caught. Tried to wiggle and waggle away from Dangerfield. And the veteran was up for the challenge. Holding the ball. Will go back. Man on the mark stands from 55 out. Dangerfield plays on, spears it towards the goal square. Walker punches it away. Falls into the arms of Ollie Henry. The Dockers have it right on the goal line. And they manage to concede under pressure. So it's a minus score to the Cats. 4-2-26. They lead the Dockers 1-1-7. Bridget Lacey downstairs quickly.
Jeremy Cameron's back on the ground. Looks to be okay.
Fremantle dangerously, but work it now to Matt Johnson. Inside his defence 50 right half back. He goes for the ambitious kick up the middle and he finds Switkowski. Now they can switch out to the sunshine on the southern side. Here's Bailey Banfield. Gives the handball off to Jeremy Sharp. He's got space and he's got options inside 50. One of them was Frederick, but he dropped the mark. Manages to gather the ball, get it back. Wanted Sturt. Broken up by Zach Guthrie and the Cats knock the ball towards the boundary line. And insufficient intent it is, so it's a free kick to Fremantle. Bailey Banfield takes it and he goes short to Jordan Clark, who has it now at left half forward. Man on the mark, more or less on the paint of 50. You back him on the run here, Jordan Clark. Set shot might be a little bit different, but with the stand rule, he can wheel away to his right. Brad Close knows it, so he's standing there waiting. Clark in game 100 from long range against his own side. Oh, he will enjoy that one, Jordan Clark. And he gives it the Turkish Olympic shooter celebration. What a goal from Jordan Clark in his 100th game against his old side. And it's a goal that his team badly needed as well. Brings the margin back to 13 points. Fremantle 2-1-13. Geelong 4-2-26. 29 minutes played in the first quarter. Saturday footy on ABC Sport.
Love that celebration. Brought the house down. Amazing goal. He pulls it out of the holster as well. It was the kick from Johnson through the middle and then using the open side, though, wasn't it, Curry? They've got to keep trying to go around them because Geelong are doing such a good job of getting numbers back.
They've had opportunities to mark inside forward 50, but just have dropped a couple, unfortunately.
So good by Jordan Clark, the celebration there as the Dockers win it out of the middle again. 5 handballs to the run of Jackson. His kick inside the forward 50. Guthrie could have marked, decided to punch it away. Banfield gathers for the Dockers, shares it with Johnson. Now the dangerous Bailey Banfield steps around opponents on the boundary line and was looking to chisel it back into a teammate. It was cut off well by Holmes, who goes short now to Broome. There's the ball at right half back. 30 minutes played in this opening term. The Cats still hold that 13-point lead. The Dockers are starting to wrestle a little bit of momentum back. Short kick up the line. St Myers doing a mountain of work as usual. Disposal number 8 coming up for the small forward. Kicks up the wing, looking for a target. Clark punched it away from Bowes. Ball spills to ground. Free kick paid. It's going the way of the Dockers to Clark for a holding free. So he switches it inboard for the Dockers. Chapman gathers, takes a bounce, middle of the ground, bombs it inside the forward 50. Amos from behind flew, but Henry, the Jack variety, too strong in front, takes intercept mark. And the Cats will win it back deep in defence.
The Dockers aren't going to win the game if they keep bombing it inside forward 50 and hoping for a contested mark. They have to.
They've got to go round.
They do, and hit the short if it's there.
No Tracy.
Exactly. They're missing him already.
Jack Henry brings the ball out to the broadcast wing. He wants blitz halves, had a mismatch on Wagner, but Voss came in and brought the ball down to ground for Fremantle. And in the end, it lands in the lap of Wagner and he's tackled to ground by Zach Guthrie. So ball up. Right half forward for Fremantle. 70 metres from their goal. They kick the last 2 to get back in this, the Dockers. Stanley wins the ruck tap, but O'Meara takes it away from the clearance. Snaps a left foot kick deep inside 50. Good spoil at the back from the Geelong defender and Close gathers the ball at centre-half back, but he's tackled by Jordan Clark. Kicked the last goal of the game, Jordan Clark, in his 100th game. And gave an all-time celebration as well. From the stoppage, the ball comes to Wagner. He sends Fremantle to the top of the goal square. And at the back, Jack Henry reaching over Sturt. Thought he was going to get paid the mark. He wasn't. Ball came to ground. Sturt applied the pressure, tackled him. And the umpire called for a ball up just as the siren sounds to end the first quarter. And it was Geelong who kicked the first 4 goals of that quarter before Fremantle answered back with 2 of their own. And the score at quarter time, Geelong 4-2-26, leading Fremantle 2-1-13.
As you just heard, it was Geelong jumping the Dockers here at Perth Stadium. 4-2 at the first break. The goal kickers for the Cats, Jeremy Cameron kicked the first in game 250. The others singles to Stanley, Dempsey and Ollie Henry. For the Dockers, 2 goals for them, singles to Caleb Sarong and Jordan Clark in game 100. So the Cats take a 13-point lead into the first break. The other results today, if you're just joining us, the Giants defeated the Lions by 18 points. And West Coast came from behind as well against North Melbourne to record a thrilling victory down in Hobart by 5 points. Mitch Turner and Cash Vodadar here. We'll get the thoughts from our experts, Sharon Wellingham and Cara Antonio, in just a moment. This is Saturday Footy on ABC Sport.
If you love country music, you'll love ABC Country.
You get a fast car.
It's Australia's home of country music. The music you grew up with.
You'll be the captain.
All the latest country hits.
I ain't proud of all the punches that I've thrown.
And emerging artists.
Because, baby, we've been apart.
24 hours commercial free. ABC Country. It's on your DAB Plus digital radio and the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season.
Every match.
match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Neil on the wing, kicks it up towards the forward line, looking for a target. Flying across was Chapman, couldn't take the mark. Walker at ground level, he gathers it. He's gathered by two Cats. It will be a holding the ball free kick to Jeremy Cameron. Tight on the boundary left forward pocket. Premiership player, Coleman medalist. A great of the modern era, Jeremy Cameron in game 250 slots it from the tightest of angles. And the Cats open the scoring here at Perth Stadium.
Clever kick backwards to Stanley, who sends the Cats inside forward 50 again. Ball at the back, Cameron, well done Cox. Stengel applies the pressure. Close, Dempsey off the ground. And it's Ollie Dempsey who kicks the second goal for the Cats. Jeremy Cameron, he wheels inside onto that left boot and sends Geelong inside 50. Dempsey's at the back, Jackson flies, ball at the back here. Stanley runs onto it and runs into the open goal. Geelong have the first four. Low pass inside 50 at the bootlaces of Amos, who does well to gather, gives it back to Sturt from just inside 50. Pulls the kick to a dangerous area, Sarong! Well, not sure if that was a shank or whether Sam Sturt meant that, but he's done well to spot up Caleb Sarong. Caleb Sarong, the form midfielder for Fremantle this season. From 40 metres out, directly in front. And when the team needs it, Caleb Sarong stands up. That's the Dockers' first of the afternoon. Bailey Banfield takes it and he goes short to Jordan Clark, who has it now at left half forward, man on the mark, more or less on the paint of 50. Clark in game 100 from long range against his own side. Enjoy that one, Jordan Clark, and he gives it the Turkish Olympic shooter celebration. What a goal from Jordan Clark.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
The Cats jump the Dockers here at Perth Stadium, and as it stands, temporarily into the top four are Geelong, sitting in third on the live ladder. They lead the Dockers by 13 points, 4-2-26 to the Dockers, 2-1 team in game 250 for Jeremy Cameron. Mitch Turner here alongside a Cash Fodadar in the ABC Sport commentary position. Our experts, All-Australian former Dockers captain Cara Antonio, former Eagle and Pies Premiership player Sharad Wellingham. Your thoughts on the first term?
Oh, it was a hot start.
It was.
It was really, really hot, and Geelong were able to. They were really efficient when they went inside, but they built it just off his head, Cara. They just were hitting contests and were applying pressure to Fremantle, who just weren't able to settle. Were they? They couldn't get their hands on the footy for what felt like the first half of that quarter. Now they fought back really well, but it was the intent to tackle and pressure a contest. It wasn't like they were getting done at clearances. It wasn't like they were. I mean, I haven't looked at any stats to back that up, but it wasn't like they were getting beaten convincingly in any part of the game, and it wasn't like they were turning the ball over. They were just getting done in a contest.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it comes back to a work rate and a mindset and intent to win the ball. Tackles 26 to Geelong that quarter, only the 8 to Fremantle, so no doubt that's getting addressed at quarter time. The intercept marks for me, Geelong have already had 4, and we mentioned it, Shaz, they need to shift lanes, they need to go around the Geelong defenders. They're the number one intercept team in the competition, and if they want to have any chance of scoring, they're going to have to shift lanes and hit one low, because bombing it in and hoping for a contested mark is not a method that's going to work for them today.
I feel like they're trying to go through the corridor, but I'm not sure that is the best avenue. Like if they've got to almost draw Geelong over to one side and then be prepared to go back around and switch and then go around the other side. So they've got to almost be, I don't know, more brazen and more committed to that open side play.
Well, they've had opportunities, 16 to 9 inside 50s to Fremantle. They just haven't made the most of their opportunities.
They're just dumping it in there.
Correct, yeah.
Heard some of those stats there from Sharad Wellingham and Cara Antonio. Cash, what are some of the other numbers telling us?
Some of the individual numbers, Mitch. Jeremy Sharp, the leading ball winner on the ground with 11 disposals. Luke Ryan, Brandon Walker, Jordan Clark, Matt Johnson and Corey Wagner all have 8 disposals as well for Fremantle. Meanwhile, for Geelong, Brian Myers with 8 disposals. Ollie Dempsey and Patrick Dangerfield have 7 each.
Sharad Wellingham just spotting the Wallabies score from earlier. 33-7, they went down to the Springboks at Lang Park over East. So they'll be in here in Perth next week. 2 going head-to-head.
Man of many sports, Sharad.
The Eagles 5-point winners over North Melbourne in Hobart. the Giants taking care of business against the Lions by 18 points. Back here at Perth Stadium, though, it's the Cats by 13 as we're back underway in the second term. Ball tapped down in the middle and immediately tied up again. So Stanley and Jackson will go head-to-head. Jackson reaches up, taps it straight down to Sarong. Managed to get some space. His handball, though, put Fife under pressure. Put it straight up in the air. Brayshaw managed to get it out to Clark, and now back to Sarong. The kick inside the forward 50. Well done, Guthrie. Spilt the mark, though. Banfield gathers to the Dockers. Gives it to Brayshaw. Tries to step through traffic. He was caught. Somehow got a handball free. The ball's right on the paint. Banfield with one arm pin taken to ground. Strong tackle by the Cats. The ball will be tossed up just inside the Dockers forward 50. Jackson and Stanley go at it again. Ball tapped straight down. Dangerfield overran it. Holmes tried to boot the ball out of it. Just ricocheted off players into the path of Sarong, who was good. Was able to gather. Kicks it low to a diving Patrick Voss, who somehow got his fingers under the ball. Would like to see a replay. It was very close to the turf.
Oh, he's claimed it, so it doesn't matter. But it was the kick from Sarong on the opposite that was a late pick up off the deck and swinging onto his left.
I think he did just get the hands under it.
Yeah, that's a mark.
Terrific grab. Patrick Voss will kick from slightly worse than 45-degree angle from about 40 metres out into the side this week. Replacing Josh Tracy. That kick won't do it. It's across the face. Won't register a score. Stanley went up and got a fist on it. Dempsey was back there. Got it to a teammate. The Cats trying to clear congestion. Beautiful, quick little hands from Henry. Found Atkins. Kick up the wing. Dangerous. Well, the Dockers win it back. Cox able to intercept and switch the play across half-back now to Ryan.
Ryan waits for it to bounce, and the bounce is not a good one for him. Allows close in. He slips. Ryan manages to tackle him, and the umpire says it was an illegal tackle, high contact, and the free kick to Brad Close. At right half forward, he puts the Cats deep inside 50. Big fly at the back from Jordan Clark. Jeremy Cameron stayed down. He centres the ball, but there's no one home for Geelong, and Caleb Sarong takes the mark. Handballs over the top to Brayshaw, but it's coming back. It's going to be a 50-metre penalty. So Caleb Sarong will be marched up the field to the defensive side of the centre square. Now he plays on by hand to Brayshaw anyway. Runs through the middle of the ground, goes short to Switkowski at centre half forward. He's got a free man out at right half forward, ignores that, Bailey Banfield. Instead goes by hand back to Sarong, who floats the ball inside 50. Gathered by Jackson. He handballs back to Banfield, who snaps goalwards. It's high, but it's wide, and it's a minor score. To the left-hand side, Fremantle now 2-2-14, trailing Geelong by 14 points. They're 4-2-26.
Orson Humphries, young West Aussie with the kick-in duties, just trots out of the goal square, took a bounce, gave it to Stewart, managed to dance around Voss and handball up towards Guthrie. Further afield, to Blixarves on his left foot, tries to spot a target. Cox read it well from the Dockers, came through, double-fisted it to Sharp, who spun around no one. Somehow stood up in the tackle in the end. Got it to Clark. Now to Sarong again. Dangerous handball into the middle of the ground. Puts it in front of Fife. Switkowski comes out. Gives it back to the two-time Brownlow medalist, who finds Frederick all alone inside the forward 50. Takes the mark. Will go back 45-degree angle. Man of the mark. Slightly closer than 40 metres out.
I like the brave, risky handball into the middle. It's the way that they're going to be able to break that Geelong defence, and as we've mentioned, switch lanes, hit up the one that's free, ended up in Frederick's hands.
18 goals this season for Michael Frederick. Strikes it beautifully. Turns to the crowd, claps the hands. The Dockers have their third. Frederick has his first. 3-2-20 Fremantle. They trail the Cats 4-2-26. We've played 4.5 minutes in this second term at Perth Stadium. Mitch Turner alongside Akash Vodadar, our experts, Cara Antonio and Sharad Wellingham.
Yeah, it's not like it even hit the mark, did it? Or it hit the teammate. It was just get it through the middle, change lanes, get it into a dangerous spot. Luckily, Fremantle had a couple of numbers there in Switkowski and Fife. It was a beautiful kick from Frederick, wasn't it? Absolutely plumb middle.
It's an underrated set shot for a player who's normally on the run.
Yeah.
These shots.
So after a fast start from Geelong, Fremantle kicked the last 3 goals of this contest and brought the margin back to that one straight kick. As the umpire recalls his bounce and will have to throw it up this time, umpire Simon Meredith. Stanley and Jackson. From the ball up, Jackson stays down but wins a tap. Wanted Young, missed him. Bowes gathers for Geelong. The ball ricochets back to him. Pumps a high ball inside 50. Cameron in front. Bodied out of it. And Draper gathers at ground level for Fremantle. Kicks out wide to the far side of the ground. Dempsey first to it in the sunshine. Gets a handball off. Bursting through here is Holmes. Breaks the paint at 50. Kicks goalward. Fremantle have the numbers back there and Brennan Cox takes the intercept mark deep in the goal square. Brings the ball out to the broadcast side of the ground now to Heath Chapman at left half back.
Chapman, dangerous kick, short up the wing to Brayshaw. Got contact late from Duncan. The umpire paid the free kick. So Brayshaw will have the ball. Between wing and half back for the Dockers. Broadcast side of the ground. Nothing on. Got called to play on. Somehow broke the tackle of Broome with pure strength. Kicks up the wing now, looking for a target. Stanley flew from the back, but he tapped it straight down to Young. Spots a man inside 50. Guess who? Michael Frederick, all alone again. Was able to take the mark, go back, and he'll kick from just slightly left of centre, just inside the 50.
Young, Lawson, Humphreys, first handful of games, have just been caught napping. You have to be on 100% of the time. Smart and fast player like Frederick's going to get you.
Michael Frederick for back-to-back goals. Set shot. Strikes it pretty well, but just pulls it to the left. So a minor score to the Dockers, unable to tie it up. 3-3-21 Fremantle, 4-2-26 Geelong. A 5-point margin, 7 minutes into the second.
Geelong bring the ball out this northern wing. Stanley gets away from Jackson and takes the mark in front of the interchange gates. Max Holmes continues to run. He took the kick in initially. Wanted the handball from Stanley. That's ignored. Kicks up the line looking for Tui, and Luke Ryan jumps over the top and fists the ball into the crowd. It'll be a boundary throw-in. Right half forward for Geelong. Still 70 metres away from their goal. That lead for Geelong just 5 points now after they kicked the first 4 goals of the game. 4-2-26 to Fremantle's 3-3-21. From the throw-in, ball comes down to Bowes. Snaps Geelong inside 50. Cameron front position. Chapman did well. Ball comes back to Cameron now in the forward pocket. He's dumped into the turf. The ball comes to Dangerfield, who snaps goalwards. It's Ryan Myers has kicked an absolutely brilliant goal. Well, everybody just stood and looked, and it wasn't a massive celebration from Myers either. But that is an unbelievable finish right on the paint of the boundary line from 35 metres out. I thought it had just floated across the face.
Well,
that is a sensational goal from Brian Myers.
I'm not sure anyone knew what was going on then, because the only reason I knew it was a chance was the goal umpire.
That is an unbelievable finish from Myers. It's Geelong's 5th of the afternoon. They're 5-2-32. Fremantle 3-3-21. That lead back out to 11 points for Geelong. And I need to see a replay of that, because that was something special from Brian Myers in the pocket.
He really didn't give it too much either for the celebration.
No.
But degree of difficulty, if we're talking Olympics term, that's 9.9 degree of difficulty.
Heath Chapman just stood there, hands on hips as Myers walked back past, just shaking his head like, you are kidding me. Ball back in the middle. Jackson rises high for the Dockers. The Cats, though, through Bruins. Stolen, though, by Young for the Dockers. Runs out of the middle. Takes the bounce. Sets sail for home and nails it. He's in some sort of form, Hayden Young. He's in the retro kit, but he's showing Dockers fans a sign of the future. As they say, he's the most damaging player in the game at the moment. He gets his first goal today. The Dockers answer straight back. 4-3-27 Fremantle. Geelong 5-2-32. 9.5 minutes played in the second term. Hayden Young with his 13th goal of the season. That's one hell of a way to answer back Kara. Sharon.
Well, that was all him. He laid the tackle initially and
Got the loose ball.
He did, and that's 55 out on the run.
With the retro jumper, it reminds me of Sinclair.
Oh, Jess Sinclair throwback. Very nice. He's not as tanned as Jess Sinclair.
No.
Former Docker, former Roo, Jess Sinclair. Back in the middle, goal for goal in this second term. It's Atkins with the clearance for Geelong. Kicks them up towards left half forward. Ryan went back with courage, and the ball comes to Jeremy Cameron from the paint of 50 towards goal. It just floats across the face. We've seen Jeremy Cameron kick many, many goals in similar situations, with this one across the face. One bouncing through for a minus score. So Geelong 5-3-33 lead Fremantle 4-3-27 by one straight goal. 10.5 minutes gone in the second quarter, I should say. Saturday footy here on ABC Sport.
Jordan Clark on the kick-in duties against his old side. Comes out to a pack. Tapped off hands towards Atkins. Handballed into the path of Manor. Couldn't find him. Cox coming through for the Dockers. Was able to tie it up. So ball up. Right on the paint of 50. Right half forward for the Cats. Blixarves v Jackson. Ball knocked into towards the front of the pack. Dangerfield, as he often does, straight onto it. Running in the wrong direction. Was able to find Duncan, but the kick for the veteran Cat was too hot for Broome. It was marked by Jordan Clark, who's starting to get a fair bit of the ball. Possession number 12 in game 100. Kicks a high, up and under, back towards the pack. Jackson flew higher from the back, couldn't mark. Spills down to Switkowski, lost his footing, handballed it forward. Young tries to advance it by a foot off the ground, and it ricochets off Mitch Duncan out of bounds for a throw-in. Duncan moves into equal 6th all-time for the Cats in games played. Draws level with Premiership player Darren Milburn. 292 games today. Ball back from the restart. Clever little tap from Tui to Manor. The Irishman connect as the ball goes up, and it's off hands, and Cox once again there for the Dockers to see the ball out. It'll be a boundary throw in. Right forward 50 junction. 12 minutes played in the second. The Cats lead by 6.
Patrick Voss into the ruck now for Fremantle. And Patrick Dangerfield doing the ruck work for Geelong. And Dangerfield over the top. Fists the ball forward. Johnson first there for Fremantle. Gets the handball to Luke Ryan. Ryan kicks out in front of Tabernar, who takes the mark on the chest, opposed to Reece Stanley. He gets a big cheer from the home crowd, does Matt Tabernar. His 5th game for the season, his first since round 5. Tabernar kicks long. Voss has found some space, and he should have marked that. He drops it on the logo, then gives away the free kick for high contact to Atkins. Bruin wanted to go on and take advantage, but Atkins said, nope, give it back. And he has the ball defensive side of the broadcast wing for Geelong. They lead by 6 points in the second term. Kicks wide and finds Jeremy Cameron. In front of the Dockers bench. The man in game 250. Coleman medalist. Inaugural Giant and Premiership Cat. Sends Geelong deep inside forward 50. Draper in the front. Couldn't mark. Ball comes to Ryan. Ricochets off a couple of sets of hands. Here comes Hayden Young through the contest. Handballs back to Clark. Goes short to Chapman in the left back pocket. And he kicks long and high up the line.
Voss this time backing back under far more pressure. Oh, didn't get paid the mark by the umpire. Thought he held it a long time. Instead, it's play on. Atkins on hands and knees, looking for a teammate. Got it to Connor Jasny. He was immediately tackled. Switkowski emerged with it, was stripped of possession. Cameron won it for the Cats. Got it to Holmes. His kick smothered. Young again for the Dockers. Backs out of traffic. Kick from Chapman's a dangerous one in the middle. Half volley pickup was brilliant from Banfield. Missed the handball though to Switkowski. Still manages to gather. Gives it to Sarong. Clark runs to 55 into the pocket for Sturts. Takes the mark. Just a little bit of a shove. Opposed to Bowes, I think it is. And the umpire pays the mark.
It felt like they had to really work for that one, didn't they? There was a lot of mistakes in there. Ground balls just makes it really hard when things aren't going well in terms of the skill execution. But they managed to find a way.
In the right pocket, the left footer comes in, 30 metres out. It's kicked 17-6 for the season. In the bright green boots, Sam Sturt sends it into the crowd. And Fremantle draw level. It's 33 apiece. The Cats kicked the first 4 goals of the game, and they've led since the 3-minute mark of the opening term. Scores level though now, 15 minutes played in the second. Cara Antonio, Sharad Wellingham, they're just wrestling more and more momentum back, the Dockers.
Well, it was Hayden Young there really who was the smart one who stayed out, sold a bit of candy to break away from contest. Great kind of kick to advantage as well. A little bit of a shove, nice body work from Sturt. But yeah, it's high-pressured footy. 31 tackles to 13 as well, Geelong up.
3 goals to 1 this quarter for Fremantle. Voss v Stanley in the ruck. Voss got there, got the tap down. But it'll be the Cats who emerge through Dangerfield. He's high up to centre-half forward. Draper and Ollie Henry. Henry does well and takes the mark. 55 from home, sets the ball up to the top of the square. Dempsey at the back. Neal comes through, he claims the mark and the umpire pays it. Dockers players and fans not happy. They think there were a few sets of hands on that ball. But Shannon Neal, third man into the contest, and I think Fremantle fans have a right to be unhappy. Sharon, Tara?
Terrible call.
Not sure what the umpire was looking at there.
That's came off Sharp's hands. Like, it's almost more of a mark to Sharp.
Third player to touch it.
It's Shannon Neal who has the mark paid to him. He's 15 metres out on a slight angle to the left. As the boos ring around Perth Stadium, Shannon Neal puts the Cats back in front. The Dockers drew level, but it only lasted for a couple of minutes. And the Cats are back out by a goal. Geelong 6-3-39, Fremantle 5-3-33. 17 minutes gone, second term. Saturday footy here on ABC Sport.
That's a shocker. But mistakes happen in football. Can't do anything about it.
He actually whacks it out of
He knocks it out of Sharp's hands.
He went the spoil.
Yeah, and then he took it on the ricochet and claimed it.
Oh, can't do anything about that.
Things happen.
Oh my.
Yeah, the replay being shown about 7 times since doesn't really help the case. But it does not matter because
that poor umpire standing out there, he'd be looking up at that going, oh, geez, I got that one wrong.
The record books show that it's a goal. That's a horrible bounce in the middle. The umpire didn't call it back. It favoured the Dockers' side. Coming through, Tanner Bruin just ran head first into Brayshaw and wins a free kick. So the Cats have it just beyond centre-half back. Stewart ran past, had to immediately handball it, trying to get the give and go. Running away from Brayshaw, he's caught. Coughs the handball up towards Humphries. It bounces away from him. Myers gathers it, kicks it 30 metres defensively. Henry can't gather. He's got Amos with company. Henry panics, soccers it forward. Amos was holding him. Freo fans have found their voice. Most of it is directed at the umpires, but Jack Henry wins the free kick, retreats to Guthrie in defence. His kick further inside defensive 50 is a bouncing one to Stewart, able to gather and steady kick towards Blixar. So two of the modern greats of Geelong, both two-time fairest and best winners at the clubs, Carji Greaves medalists. Blixarves and Stewart combining back there. Blixarves kick up the wing to a pack. Cox fisted it away. O'Meara along the boundary line, tapped it to Wagner. Now Walker. The Dockers retreating in territory. Draper looping handball. The last man in defence in Ryan. Tried to look for something on the outer side, had nothing on, had to do a full 360. Somehow comes back to the broadcast side, and the Dockers have numbers. O'Meara works together with Cox, now gets it back, finds Switkowski, left half forward, has players moving ahead of him, sees Jackson at the back, kicks in that direction, he flies, can't mark. Geelong get there to spoil it. Blixarve's kick. Tries to clear defensive 50. 5 cuts it off. Gives it to Brayshaw. Kicks towards goal. He pulls it. It's a minor score. 5-4-34 the Dockers. 6-3-39 the Cats. 19.5 played in the second.
Stewart has it for Geelong in the right back pocket. Potentially avoided a disaster. That last foray towards goal from the Dockers. Stewart goes long and high. Myers in a one-on-one with Cox. Did well to get the ball to ground level. Now Max Holmes has it. Takes a bounce. Takes another. Runs past the interchange gates. That's 3 bounces for Holmes. Make it 4. 5. He's running away from Fife. And he kicks Geelong towards the top of the goal square where Dempsey takes the mark. He juggles it. And on the third attempt, he pulls it into his chest. He's 20 metres out from goal on a slight angle to the left. And the Dockers fans are still unhappy. But I think that mark from Ollie Dempsey was nice and clean.
God, he's quick, isn't he? Electric.
Holmes.
Yeah, 5 bounces.
He was bouncing at every 3 steps.
Yeah.
He was. He won the grand final sprint in 2023.
There you go.
As Dempsey, with the set snap, makes the goal umpire work, and he's pulled it narrow.
That's appalling.
So he misses to the left-hand side, much to the joy of the Fremantle faithful. With the minor score to Geelong, they're 6-4-40. Fremantle 5-4-34. 21st minute.
The Dockers have chipped it to left half back, but Kara.
That's appalling. I'm sorry.
The snap from the set shot directly in front.
Yeah.
Directly in front.
I'm not a fan.
What's the point?
I know.
It's the way of the modern player, but it's cost Geelong that time.
The Dockers bring the ball out to the wing off hands of the pack. Switkowski taken over the line by Guthrie. He was, 20 metres out, pretty much directly in front was Ollie Dempsey, and he went with the snap around the body, much like we've seen the likes of Harry Mackay do in years gone past. This is directly in front, 20 metres out.
No comment.
Ball spun back into play from the boundary throw-in. Jackson is looking for a teammate with a tap. Myers sharked it for the Cats. Tackled by Switkowski. Umpire will take possession back. Stanley v. Jackson the ruck. Jackson did well to get to the front position. Tapped it to Brayshaw, who fumbled it straight back to Stanley. The big ruckman's kick towards half forward. Draper spilt the mark, but Henry was holding on to the young Docker, so he'll win the free kick at left half back. Goes short, still inside defensive 50 to Clark. Retreats back towards the top of the goal square to Ryan. Now the chip into the pocket to Chapman. So the Dockers trying to work it by foot. Walker has it at right half back. Has a short target in Sharp. Had to slide on the knees to take the mark. Moves it quickly now. Inboard to Wagner, who goes for the long switch. Dangerfield's trying to close it down, but the ball beats him there, and Ryan takes the mark. And this is what the Dockers can do at times. A high possession chip mark game as Ryan goes short to Draper. Draper had a little look back at Ryan, who's pointing the finger down the line and says, let's pull the trigger now and do something. But Draper goes short to O'Meara, so the Dockers still have it just backward of the wing.
O'Meara up the line, and he finds Jordan Clark, defensive side of the wing, right in front of his own interchange gate. Played 32 games for Geelong, did Jordan Clark. Now he's played 68 in a row to bring up a career milestone of 100 AFL games as Jai Amos takes a good mark. The back of the pack, left half forward for Fremantle. Goes short inside 50, and Switkowski takes the mark. He was unmarked by the Geelong defenders. And Sam Switkowski now has a chance to kick for the Dockers' 6th goal of the match. He'll have to put boot to ball from just outside 50, but he does have the ability, of course, with the stand rule, to gain himself a little bit of ground by running around onto his favoured right boot. 10 goals, 9 so far this year, Sam Switkowski. This to draw scores level. He pulls the kick into the pocket. He spotted an option he liked in Sturt, but Humphreys, the young Geelong defender, read that well and got across to spoil the ball out of bounds. So we'll have a throw in the left forward pocket for Fremantle. The umpires sort out who will be contesting the ruck. It'll be Taberner for Fremantle and Stanley for Geelong. Stanley gets in front, slaps it down. Myers, the outside of the boot, clears defensive 50. Chapman in front of Cameron, couldn't mark but kept the ball in front of him before his kick is smothered by Zach Tui and out of bounds. Another boundary throw in just inside 50 for Fremantle at left half forward.
What do you think of that matchup? Heath Chapman on Jeremy Cameron. It's a big task for the young Docker.
It is. Obviously, Cameron kicked that goal early, but I think Chapman wasn't actually on him at that point, so he's doing well so far.
From the restart, Stanley taps it down. Tui hacks out in midair. Tumbling ball towards Stengel. Couldn't gather. Ricocheted to Wagner. Was in a little bit of trouble. Gave it to Clark. Now Chapman spun 360 in the tackle. Coughs it up. He comes to Cameron. He's run down by Walker. Too slow. And the speedy Dockers defender had him. And now he wants to move it quickly. Swings it wide to Draper. Goes short at the wing to Johnson. The Cats still lead by 6. Johnson by a foot goes wide to Sharp. A little chip over the top to the lead of Frederick. Has already kicked a major today. 0437 774 774 if you want to flick us a text. Mitch Turner, Akash Fodor, Sharad Wellingham, Cara Antonio and Bridget Lacey with you for the call as Wagner kicks up towards half forward. Going back, Sabina couldn't mark. Spills down the way of the Cats. Colin Jasny somehow managed a little snap around the body with the left boot, and Humphreys takes the chest mark and retreats back into defence to Tom Stewart, the 5-time All-Australian.
Stewart has it, left back pocket. Just goes short, back to Humphreys, who has it on the paint of defensive 50 at left half back. Geelong just controlling the ball in their defensive half at the moment as we near half time. The Cats kicked the first 4 goals of the game, but now the margin is just 6 points in favour of the visitors. Humphreys went up to the southern wing. Pack forms and will have a ball up. Wagner and Manor, the last two to emerge from that one. And the umpire will toss it up out in the sunshine of the southern wing at Perth Stadium. Jackson and Stanley lock arms. But Geelong get the clearance and go forward once more. Neal in a 2-on-1. And Fremantle win that contest through Draper, who takes the mark at right half back. Draper goes short to Johnson. It's where the shadows meet the sunshine. He'll go wider still to Jeremy Sharp out on the southern wing. Pops the pass over the top to Switkowski. Sharp continues to run. Gets the handball back from Switkowski. He'll kick Fremantle deep into the pocket now. There's Voss. There's Taberner who comes in. He can't mark. Ball at ground level. Blitzarves goes to clear it off the outside of his left boot. He's kicked it out of bounds on the full. And Jeremy Sharp will take the free kick for the Dockers. At right half forward, 70 metres around from his attacking goal. Fremantle still trailing by 1 goal. Sharp's short kick towards Switkowski put him under pressure. Dempsey has it for Geelong. Handballs back to Myers. Myers goes short. Wanted Manor. Tries to spin out of trouble. Good forward pressure here from the Dockers, and they win it back through Switkowski. He handballs forward to Banfield. Fumble. Tackled. Ball spills free. Charging through is Wagner, but the ball has gone out of bounds inside Fremantle's attacking 50 and will be thrown in about 40 metres around from their goal in the right forward pocket.
I feel like Banfield just dropped or threw that ball to a teammate coming past. The umpire...
The pressure's hot, isn't it? Last kind of 3 to 4 minutes.
Umpire said it was knocked out. I'm not sure about that, but it's a ball in. Voss to the front in front of Stanley. Comes off the hands of Dempsey. Goes up towards Close, who kicks it to the wing. Neal in a 1-on-1 has made a holding free kick against him. So Draper for the Dockers wins it. Short to Sharp. And the Blue Boots on the outer side, having a terrific season, the former Sun. Plenty of numbers ahead of him inside the Dockers attacking 50. Now he kicks it inside that direction. Flying from the back was Jackson. Coming through Voss in the pack. Got boots of ball, but it was the outside. It rolled over the boundary. Half-time siren sounds. And after the Cats kicked the opening 4 goals of the game, the Dockers responded with the next 3. That 13-point margin in favour of Geelong at quarter time has been reduced to just 6. 6-4-40 Geelong, 5-4-34 the Dockers after 2 quarters in the books for round 22 action here at Perth Stadium between the Cats and the Dockers. The goal kickers for both sides, singles to all comers. For the Cats, Stanley, Cameron, Dempsey, Myers, Neal and Oliver Henry all have 1 goal apiece. For the Cats, Sturt, Sarong, Clark, Young and Frederick are their goal kickers. The other scores today, the Giants defeated the Lions by 18 points to push Brisbane just slightly further down the ladder. And the Eagles, with a very late comeback against North Melbourne in Hobart, made it 2 wins in a row, beating the Kangaroos by 5 points. Back here, though, it is a 6-point margin the way of the Cats. Mitch Turner alongside Akash Fodada. Experts here on Saturday Footy for ABC Sport. Cara Antonio and Sharad Wellingham. Pretty good game of football on our hands set up for the second half.
Yeah, it's quite a defensive game, isn't it? I mean, no team is really able to transition the ball with ease and get it inside there. What are the marks inside 50? It's 7 for the whole game for either side.
Yeah, and Fremantle had 5 in that quarter, so 7-3 for the game.
It is a dour defensive game, isn't it? I mean, we spoke about Geelong really hitting contests and applying a lot of tackle pressure. Freo lifted their intensity in that respect, didn't they? And brought a lot of bulk and I suppose presence around the contest. And I'm just getting distracted by Tommy's got his golf swing. He's showing me his golf swing through the window. It's a defensive finals-like game, isn't it?
It is. But what I really liked in that second quarter, I mentioned it at quarter time, the tackle pressure from Geelong. They're the number 1 tackle team in the competition, but for that quarter, Fremantle, the 12 tackles to Geelong's 9. So they clearly tidied up that area. They didn't win clearance, Fremantle, that quarter, but I felt like they were able to chain the ball out. They were able to shift lanes, better ball movement and method going inside forward 50. And as I mentioned before, they had the 5 marks in that second quarter inside forward 50, which meant they were able to go back and give themselves the best opportunity to hit the scoreboard, kicking the 3 goals 3, and a number of those goals from turnover. So giving Geelong a little bit of taste of their own medicine with the pressure, whereas Geelong goals are mainly coming from stoppage. So 4 goals for the game and 2 in that second quarter from stoppage. So it's interesting because we know this season how strong Fremantle have been at contests and at clearance, but
I think it's a big loss that they weren't prepared for Darcy.
Yeah. And again, Geelong having, I suppose, the ability to ruck Blitzaz as well. He becomes that 4th on baller, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And Stanley has been good today. The 22 hit-outs and no doubt a number 2 advantage. But for me as well, that second quarter, the intercept mark. So we spoke about at quarter time, Geelong, number 1 intercept team in the competition. And really, Fremantle were playing into their hands in that first quarter. They weren't able to take 1 intercept mark in the second quarter, and Fremantle took the 5. So getting on top in a number of different areas, Fremantle so have tidied a few things up, but Geelong still, that pressure game is something that they've built over the course of the season. And
I think that they're able to apply the pressure with the intensity that they bring because they're structuring up really well, and they're really structured. Like, they're moving all on the same page. You know, as soon as the ball goes to a certain area of the ground, they seem a lot more switched on when it comes, a lot more adherent to, I suppose, what their structures are, and they seem to be getting into the positions a lot quicker, and they get to them quicker, which kind of dictates what Fremantle do. You know what I mean? Like, if they get to position first, Fremantle almost got to kind of play against that instead of them getting set up first. So, like, I definitely noticed them getting to position and structuring up really quickly, which is the wing play at the moment. Like,
it's massive, isn't it? Like, you look at the stats, Sharp and Clark, 18 and 17 touches.
And Dempsey, they're playing a really important role at the moment. They're both getting back defensively. I think Sharp's probably being a little bit more offensive, but yeah, it's a really, really important matchup at the moment, both sides of the wing, because they've got to be able to get back. And I think Dempsey's doing a really good job of working back. And then on the other side, Sharp's doing a really good job of getting the ball inside forward 50 for Freo.
Terrific game set up for us in the second half. It is the Cats by 6 points, 6-4-40 to the Dockers 5-4-34. If you want to get involved with the conversation, flick us a text here on ABC Sport 0437 774 774. One coming through now says, "Go Cats," building on the game last week. New Cats lineup shaping well and bodes well for the future. Best from Mike in Warrnambool. In winter sun with the fish biting. So great to hear from you, Mike, out there in Warrnambool. Let us know where you're texting in from. Send us a text, 0437 774 774. We might as well pause, though, for the time being here on Saturday afternoon footy on ABC Sport and get the latest from the ABC newsroom.
ABC News with Tanmaya Navada. Foreign Minister Penny Wong says the deliberate starvation of civilians is a war crime and there's no justification for it ever. Australia has joined partners, including the UK, Germany and France, in condemning recent comments on the war in Gaza by Israel's finance minister. Bezalel Smotrich made remarks that appeared to say the starvation of civilians in Gaza might be morally justified to secure the return of the Israeli hostages. Ms. Wong made her comments in a post on social media site X, and in a separate post says there's an immediate ceasefire in Gaza has never been more urgent. Meanwhile, Egypt says it's called Israel's deliberate killing of unarmed Palestinians shows it lacks a political will to end the war in Gaza. The Egyptian Foreign Ministry statement comes after Palestinian health officials said dozens of people have died in an Israeli strike on a Gaza school sheltering displaced people. The Israeli military says it struck a Hamas command centre. Elsewhere, Russia is moving more tanks, artillery and rocket systems to its southern Kursk region as it battles a continuing operation by Ukrainian forces. Larry Buttrose reports.
The Ukrainian military is now several days into the cross-border incursion. It's posted a video purporting to show its troops in control of a town near the border, the first pictorial evidence of advances. Another video posted on social media and verified by Reuters shows a convoy of about 15 burnt-out Russian military trucks along a highway in the Kursk region. The acting governor of the region, Alexei Smirnov, says drone debris has fallen near one of Russia's largest nuclear power stations. The UN's International Atomic Energy Agency is urging both sides to show restraint.
Back home, a teenager has died following a head-on crash in southern New South Wales last night. A 17-year-old boy died at the scene when the Holden Astra he was in was involved in a collision with a ute at Tabletop, about 20 kilometres north of Albury. 3 people who were in the Toyota Hilux were taken to hospital for treatment, although their injuries weren't life-threatening. Police say an investigation is underway into the cause of the death. The owner of a ship that wrecked 2 ships and caused an oil spill at a major Tasmanian port has had its application to limit liability upheld, potentially slashing the multi-million-dollar claim against it. Beck Pridham has more.
In January 2022, cement carrier ship the Goliath crashed into 2 tugboats in Devonport, sinking them and spilling oil into the Mersey River. Tasports took owner CSL Australia to the federal court, claiming $22 million for the loss of tugs and hydrocarbons, the cost of replacement boats, damage to the wharf and cleanup costs. In a bid to limit its liability under maritime laws encouraging international trade, CSL lodged a limitation proceeding, which Tasports attempted to quash. But Justice Angus Stewart has resolved that CSL is within its rights and dismissed parts of Tasports' cross-claim. It could mean a significant blow for the amount Tasports can sue for.
Former CEO of YouTube, Susan Wojcicki, has died aged 56. The American business executive worked in the technology industry for over 20 years and served as head of the video sharing platform from 2014 to 2023. CEO of parent company Google, Sundar Pichai, says he's unbelievably saddened by the loss of his dear friend after 2 years of living with cancer. And in the AFL, West Coast has staged an unlikely comeback in Hobart, defeating North Melbourne by 5 points after trailing for most of the match. That's the news for now. You're listening to ABC News.
Time for the family road trip.
98. The big prawn.
Yes.
99.
The big mosquito.
It's a real one. And 100.
Easy. The big Listen app.
Of course.
The ABC Listen app has a big array of road trip ready podcasts, radio, audiobooks, music and sport. Something for everyone.
I guess it has to be big to fit in all those podcasts.
For a big selection of audio entertainment.
Really, Dad?
Listen big. Download the free ABC Listen app today.
This is the 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio,
on digital, and the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Something big is coming, I know.
6-point margin, the way of the Cats here at Perth Stadium for round 22 action in the AFL. Just a moment, we're going to farewell our DAB Plus listeners in Adelaide, Hobart and Darwin. You are about to head off to Olympics coverage in Paris. So DAB Plus, Adelaide, Hobart, Darwin, you're off to the Olympics. For everyone else who is remaining with us here at Perth Stadium, we'll give you a bit of an update with what is happening in Paris, though, so you don't miss out. Lauren Borden is standing by to give us the latest from the games. Lauren.
Hello, Mitch. Nice to be chatting to you. Yes, we've got the men's marathon on at the moment, so that's basically the key going on. Crowds absolutely lining the streets of Paris. They're 38 kilometres through, so there's not long left here. It's the Ethiopians, Tamira Tola leading and Deresa Galeta in second place. For the Australians, Pat Tiernan is leading the way for the Australian contingent. He's 28th at the moment, so he's kind of gradually made his way up through the running. 5,000 metres in Rio, then he went to 10,000 metres in Tokyo, and now is in the marathon. Liam Adams and Andy Buchanan, they've improved from their standings at the halfway mark, but they're a little further back at the moment. Big tonight is the water polo, so that's been so exciting. I've loved watching this throughout the games. Australia defeated the US in penalties to make it through to the gold medal match. They defeated the three-time reigning champions. Zoe Arancini and her crew are all set to take on Spain at about 11 p.m. tonight, so that's one to probably set your watches for. That's 11 p.m. Eastern time to have a look at that one. So they haven't been in the final since they won in 2000, so that's probably one I'm really looking for today. We've got the modern pentathlon on. That's one of those events that you just kind of like to glance at during the Olympics because it's an athlete that has to come in and do fencing, equestrian, swim, and the laser run. So Genevieve Janse van Rensburg, she's Australia's hope in that. She's about to head on to her equestrian leg at the Palace of Versailles at the moment. And of course, the athletics evening session tonight. We've got Australians in the javelin. The 5,000 metre final will be a big one with Stuart McSwain and Jess Hull in the 1,500 metre final. That's one that we're really looking forward to. She finished second in the semi-final, a real chance of gold. So, Mitch, we've already won 18, but we're hoping that we might be able to sneak in 19 or 20 tonight as well.
Thank you, Loz. Appreciate the update there from the Paris Olympic Games. And looking forward to the Stingers in action in the women's water polo, going for the gold medal. And so much success already over there, as mentioned. 18 gold medals and a couple more chances as well. Jess Hull is in the 1,500 tonight. So looking forward to the Aussies trying to rack up a few more medals before the Games comes to an end. And as I mentioned before, if you were tuned in, the flag bearers for the closing ceremony for Australia have been selected. Kaylee McEwen will be one, the other will be Matt Wern, both gold medalists at this Paris Olympic Games. Reiterating here at Perth Stadium, 6-4-40 the Cats, the Dockers 5-4-34 at half-time. Still about 5 minutes away from the restart in this round 22 match from Perth Stadium. Earlier scores today, the Giants were 18-point winners over the Lions. They came from behind and did it the hard way, so they have moved themselves up the ladder. And they currently sit second as it stands, pushing Brisbane down to fourth. North Melbourne, well, they led pretty much all day against the Eagles, but a late-spirited fight back from West Coast gave them a 5-point win, which makes it 2 victories in a row for the Eagles. And right here at Perth Stadium, that 6-point lead of the Cats currently has them in the live ladder up in third. So it just shows how close this season is, that little results and a kick here and there and going either way, you can move up a number of spots, you can move down a number of spots. It's incredible to think that Brisbane could potentially find themselves in fifth at the end of this round if Geelong hold on to this lead and Port Adelaide manage to get the win as well on the back end of this round. Cara Antonio, Sharad Wellingham here alongside myself, Mitch Turner and Akash Fodder. The second half getting underway. The Cats have that 6-point lead. Probably hasn't felt that they've controlled the entire game. It's been a bit seesawing with the momentum. For Geelong's standpoint, where do you think they can get on top of the Dockers in this second half? Because it does seem that Fremantle have a bit more run in their legs at the moment.
It's an interesting question because, as I mentioned before, they're winning clearance. Probably need to go back to how they were playing in that first quarter in terms of forward of centre and getting that connection piece. Marks inside forward 50 are always key, and they provide opportunity to score. We saw late in that quarter a number of times they went deep to dangerous spots, and a couple of marks, one questionable, and then a snap around the corner miss. But they've had their opportunities. But on the flip side, so have the Dockers. The inside 50s,
29 to 19.
So Dockers plus 10 in that area. So it's anyone's game. I feel that the Dockers have controlled the game a little bit more, maybe just because of the way they like to move the ball. They're a high possession team, high mark team.
Yeah, but you remember I said it didn't feel like they had their hands on the footy.
Yeah.
For the second quarter, they definitely did, and they retained it.
Definitely, yeah.
They didn't rush. I mean, they probably didn't go around as much as we were saying they need to, but they retained it and were kind of, like you said, they were willing to just kick mark and hold possession and wait for something to open up instead of dumping it down the line and then it would turn over, and then Geelong had so many numbers at the contest, would win and then go back. I think that they're going to be able to retain the ball, like you said. If they keep their hands on the footy, can play the patient game, I think that they will have more run and carry to provide than what I think Geelong can offer.
I think Geelong look better when ball's in dispute on the ground. It's moving fast, whereas Fremantle like to control it a little bit more. So they probably just, from a Cats point of view, they need to get the ball in motion and get it back on their terms to provide their forwards with opportunity to score.
And it's very much a contrast of styles, as you mentioned. Fremantle with the uncontested game, they're ranked second in uncontested possession, while Geelong are the second best contested possession side in the competition. So I think, how do Geelong manage to take that kick mark game off Fremantle? They did it at the very start with the first 4 goals. Is it just about maintaining that pressure?
Yeah, well, they've got to cover exits, don't they? They've got to cover off, make sure that Fremantle, they're not allowing Fremantle to get that handball chain. They've got to close that space earlier, and they did in the first quarter, but probably release the shackles a little bit in that second, and Fremantle were able to handball their way through traffic a lot more easier than they were in that first quarter.
But they got themselves into positions to use handball where it didn't, they were so open that it didn't matter if they didn't really hit the target or something. The number of times we saw a number of times where it went into the middle, but there was whether it hit the deck or fumble or something, but the Fremantle players still had time to gather, and then that run would come from behind or a free player in front that would be on their own. They've just got to, like you said, find that release, find the release player. And Geelong were doing a really good job of that tease distance.
Yeah.
Making almost that dare to commit to that player the option for Fremantle. And the first half of the first quarter, they did it really well where they closed it down, but they went away from that. So that's all I think that they've got to do is just get that tease distance back.
Before we start the second half, the Cats leading by 6. The Cash wanted to ask some of the other numbers for our listeners.
Yeah, we mentioned contested and uncontested possession there. Well, Fremantle equal with Geelong in contested possession, 61 apiece, but leading the uncontested possession 142 to 75. Geelong leading the clearances 22 to 17, and Fremantle leading the inside 50s 29 to 19. Some of the individual ball winners, Jordan Clark and Jeremy Sharp, lead all comers with 18 apiece, while Brian Myers has gathered most of the football for Geelong with 12 disposals.
Second half about to get underway here at Perth Stadium. The Cats lead the Dockers by 6 points. Tight season in 2024, plenty to play for. The Cash fought out for the second half.
Jackson and Stanley both jump high. At ground level, it's Hayden Young who can get the first inside 50 of the second half for Fremantle. It's a high ball. Jack Henry does well. Nudges Amos out of the contest. Ball comes back to Henry on ground level. He's tackled by a couple of Dockers. And the umpire will ball this one up 35 metres out from Fremantle's goal in the left forward pocket. Quick ball up. Jackson comes from deep. Wins it down to himself. Steps around Stanley. Snaps from the pocket. it's across the face for a minor score. So the opening score of the second half goes to Fremantle. It's 1 behind, and the margin is 5 points in favour of Geelong. They're 6-4-40. Fremantle 5-5-35.
The Dockers in that retro jumper. The green and the red up on the chest, divided by the anchor across the rest of the purple jumper. The old AFL logo as well. Good to see it as the Cats look to move the ball beyond defensive 50 from the kick out. 3 delivers to Blick Sarves. And Kolajasny over the top with the run. Is able to chip further up the wing to Neal. Has a player free in the pocket. Just needs to get it to him. Couldn't. It was smothered by Cox on the line. He had Stengel open. The Cats win it back. Unfortunately, they cough it up again, though. Myers handball straight to Young for the Dockers. Gives it to Cox. Back to Young up the middle of the wing. Back to O'Meara. Now Young again. Third time in this chain. Takes the bounce. Switches it to the far side. Banfield gathers on the bounce. Kicks into the pocket. Sees a target he likes in Taverner, and he overkicks it. Out of bounds on the full. Taverner was looking to get involved. The Cats will have the ball back in the right back pocket. Bridget Lacey downstairs on the boundary.
Geelong have made their sub. I think they were waiting to see a concussion test with Tanner Bruhn at that half-time break, but just as they were coming to the bench, Ocean Mullen has taken his...
Lost Bridget Lacey right at the end there, but Oisin Mullen into the game. He was a late in for Gary Rowan. Took the Sums role. So Oisin Mullen is into the game. The Cats look to have made that move as they have the ball back here after the free kick against Ryan for an unrealistic attempt. They have the ball deep in defence. Henry goes short to Duncan. West Aussie in game 292. Swings it wide to Guthrie. Just beyond left half back. Short up the wing just inside the boundary line to Holmes, who takes the mark with the fingertips. Caleb Sarong was begging for it to be out in the full. Holmes eventually steps around, goes for a run, takes a little bounce, kicks it up the wing, looking for a target in Ollie Henry. Couldn't mark, hit the deck hard. The Cats, though, had the numbers at ground level. Close to Cameron, now to Duncan. Couldn't run away from Frederick. Holding the ball, he's caught on the back edge of the square. Fast Freddy was too quick. So the Dockers win it back. Frederick will kick. Back up the wing, looking for a target. Taberner in a one-on-one wrestle with Guthrie. Taberner got rid of his man, couldn't take the mark though. Swikowski came through, was brilliantly tackled. Oh, well done, Holmes. Just dissected the two players. Got the give and go with Close. Now tries the handball to Duncan. Little underground one to the veteran. Now to the run of Manor. Over the top, looking to handball to Neal. Chapman came out, tapped it out of bounds for a boundary throw-in. Bridget Lacey downstairs again.
Yeah, just to finish what I was saying. So Tanner Bruhn came to the bench just before half-time and was having a chat to the Docs, but didn't look too concerned. They've obviously done a test at half-time, and just as they were running to the bench, Ocean Mullen took the top off, and he's going to enter the game shortly.
From the throw-in, Stanley with a little backhander, gets it down. Holmes, left foot snap high, up towards left half forward. Ryan and Myers contest in the air, and it's knocked out of bounds for another boundary throw-in at left half forward for Geelong. The Cats lead by 5 points, 4 minutes played in the third term here at Perth Stadium. Stanley and Jackson to do battle once more. The umpire unfurls and spins it back in. And there's a whistle on the play here. Advantage paid to Geelong. Dangerfield runs inside forward 50, kicks on goal, and just misses to the right-hand side. One behind to the Cats, so the margin back out to a straight kick. Geelong 6-5-41, Fremantle 5-5-35. Luke Ryan to bring the ball back in for Fremantle.
He was running on goal, Dangerfield, and he had Myers in front of him, and he loaded up 3 times and just couldn't get out of the way. Myers, he was ducking, he was diving, and he just did enough to put his own teammate off. So you can imagine Dangerfield would have only run in and slotted that. The Brownlow medalist, the veteran out there. The Dockers through Cox, switch it to the outer side. Draper takes it, chips it further afield to Sharp. Now over the top to Swikowski, who's found a little bit of space. Sharp ran past. Swikowski ignored him with a handball, decided to play on and take a run instead. Now kicks it into the middle of the ground. Walker and Clark are there. Clark takes it in game 100. Played on. Stengel able to hold him up. Walker on the receiving end. Fires a pass to Brayshaw. Brayshaw releases O'Meara. Runs to 55. Kicks to the goal square. Flying to the side is Jackson. The former rising star rises high. Takes the mark. Will kick from about 15 metres out. Almost directly in front. He's walked about 40 back.
Just a great kick from Switkowski inside. There was nothing down the line. Geelong had got numbers back. And it was that one inside to Clark, the handball release. O'Meara, perfect spot for Jackson to leap at.
Shouldering the ruck load in the absence of Sean Darcy today. Luke Jackson puts it on the scoreboard with a major. He gets his first goal of the day, his 19th of the season. Just like that, the Dockers draw level. 6-5-41 apiece here at Perth Stadium. Early stages of the third term. Mitch Turner alongside and Cash Fodor. Rich Lacey's on the boundary, and in the box, Cara Antonio and Sharad Wellingham.
It's a really smart kick from O'Meara too, just to kind of lure Jackson to it. But the 3v2 effectively Geelong's way. But you take that mark, doesn't matter what the numbers are at the contest, does it?
Absolutely. Good by Jai Amos as well to ground his opponent, direct opponent. I think it was Henry, not allow him to fly.
So for the second time this afternoon, Fremantle have drawn level after the Cats burst out to a 4-0 start. From the centre bounce, Jackson won it down to Johnson, got it back, now gives off to Fife, who's dumped after a kick by Dangerfield. Ball goes out towards left half forward. Amos out there for Fremantle, Dempsey for the Cats. Dempsey does well to knock the ball over the boundary line, and let's head downstairs. Bridget Lacey.
Yeah, there's just another concern for the Cats. Ollie Henry's been on the bench for a little bit, getting some work on his left hand. He just doesn't look super comfortable, but he looks like he's going to try and come back on.
The umpire unfurls and tosses it back in. Blitzarves in the ruck for Geelong. Double-handed knock back towards boundary side. Johnson and Myers together. See the ball back out over the boundary line. It'll be thrown in once more on the southern side of the ground. About 70 metres away from the Fremantle goal. Scores level. 8 minutes gone in the third term here at Perth Stadium. Once again, Jackson and Blitzarves. Jackson slaps the ball forward for Fremantle. Holmes and Switkowski out after it. Holmes gets there first and knocks it over the boundary line, and we'll have the third boundary thrown in a matter of seconds in more or less the same spot, 70 metres away from the Fremantle goal, who are kicking to the city end of Perth Stadium.
Retro round, and Fife and Dangerfield going head-to-head again and getting a bit physical. You love to see it. It's like they did almost 10 years ago in that famous game between the Crows and the Dockers on a wet night in Adelaide. They both had 40 touches apiece. It's great to see the two Brownlow medalists going at it again. Ball restarted. Dangerfield, it is this time on hands and knees. Trying to flick it to a teammate. Flicked it into his own defensive 50. Sturt came through. Couldn't gather. Then Fife got a little handball, but Young was immediately tied up by Manor. So it'll be a ball up just inside the Dockers attacking 50. Scores level. Tossed up in the air, Blitzarves takes it out of the ruck, kicks it straight up the middle of the ground. It clean bowls a couple of players, including Neal in the end. Walker was the first one back for Fremantle. Has to contend with the big man in Neal. Was able to dance away from him and find a nice little spot-up target in O'Meara, who goes up the line now to Johnson. Back into the side today. Johnson to the Dockers. Chips it inboard to Draper, coming past is Wagner, wants to use his run, delivers inside the forward 50. The leading target is Caleb Sarong, coming out from the deep forward line, takes the mark about 45 metres from home, directly in front.
Came steaming out like Tony Lockett, didn't he? True centre half forward. Is he the smallest man on the field as well, or shortest?
He's very close to it. I'll tell you in just a moment, Sharad, but for the time being, Caleb Sarong lines up, set shot, 55 metres out, directly in front. How good is this guy? He's got two. That's why he's one of the best in the game at the moment, Caleb Sarong. He gives the Dockers the lead for the first time today. The Cats have led since the 3-minute mark. We are 10 minutes in through the third term, and the Dockers finally hit the front. 7-5-47 Fremantle, 6-5-41 Geelong. Before we hear from Cara and Sharon, Bridget Lacey downstairs.
Yeah, I've just been thinking about the Tanner Bruhn concussion, and I was wondering when it might have happened, and I thought back to when Brayshaw collected him high when he had his head over the ball. He got a free kick for it in that second term, and they just flashed it on the big screen there as well. So I suspect that was the moment.
Good spot, Bridget Lacey.
I didn't see it. Is there anything for Brayshaw to worry about?
No, he's basically stationary, and Bruhn ran into him.
Yeah, it was at the point of the square, I think.
Yeah. Fremantle with the first 2 goals of the second half, and they have the lead for the first time this afternoon. It's Geelong, though, from the centre clearance. Myers kicks in at Clark, who knocks it back down. Fife gathers. Handball's out towards Johnson. Can't collect on the first attempt, and the fumble allows the Geelong players back in, and it's a good, solid tackle by Tom Stewart. Ball up, attacking side of the centre square for Geelong. Bowes trying to burst through the Switkowski tackle. Got it off to Manor. Manor kicks Geelong deep inside forward 50. Plenty of space there. Neil out after it. Ryan jumps up and gathers, and Neil applies a good solid tackle and pulls the Fremantle defender down to the ground. We'll have a ball up deep inside Cats territory in the left forward pocket. 15 metres out from their goal. Neil does the ruck work against Jackson. Ball spills free. Manor in the pocket. Can't keep it in. He's pushed over the boundary line by Wagner.
Not quite the shortest, Shaz. He's 180, Caleb Sarong, according to this. And Sean Manor's 178. And Tyson Stengel's a couple centimetres shorter than that as well. Wouldn't look it, though.
Jackson and Neil. Ball comes to Dempsey. Off hands. The outside of the boot kicks towards the goal square. But Brennan Cox, as he so often does, standing in the way like a roadblock, clutches the mark to his chest for Fremantle at full back. The Dockers, for the first time today, are in front, and they lead by 1 straight kick. 7-5-47 to Geelong, 6-5-41.
Chapman has the ball in the right back pocket for the Dockers. A high up and under kick to the wing. Pack forms. Flying from the back was Amos for Fremantle. Couldn't mark. Banfield roved it, trying to get the handball to Brayshaw. Stolen by the Cats in Atkins. Gets it to Manor. Kicks inside the forward 50. Chapman can't take the half volley coming through his Wagner. He's taken immediately in the Myers-Cameron tackle. So there'll be a ball up inside Geelong's attacking zone.
Geelong playing with the genuine +1 as well behind the ball in Tom Stewart.
Neil taps it down. Clever tap from close to Atkins to Manor. Beautiful play by the Cats. As clever as it comes from the Geelong small forwards. And Manor, quick as a flash onto the end of it, finished it beautifully. Scores level again, 7-5-47 apiece. 13.5 played in the third term at Perth Stadium.
That was a tap from close as well.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Really smart. Keep
Just
the ball
put it
alive.
in front of the players running through the contest. Really smart.
Terrific finish from Manor, but as you said, Cara and Sharrod, the little tap over the shoulder from close to get it to a teammate was why he's one of the best small forwards in the competition and probably underrated by many.
Great game awareness. Good game of footy. Really good game.
Sean Manor dominated for Werribee last year in the VFL. Mature age pickup. The 27-year-old taking a pick 36 in last year's draft. Getting his opportunity on the big stage and making it count. Scores level again here at Perth Stadium. Fife has it from the Stanley tap. Spins around one and kicks the Dockers inside 50. Tabner caught behind. Humphreys rose high. Crashes to the ground, but he's okay. He's up on his feet. Geelong clear their defensive line through the middle of the ground. Ball comes back now to Fife. He brushes off one tackle and he earns himself a free kick for high contact against Tyson Stengel. And the two-time Brownlow medalist will have the ball in the middle of Perth Stadium for Fremantle. Goes short to this northern side of the ground to Chapman. Chapman will come wider still. Luke Ryan in front of the Fremantle interchange gate. It's the ball high and deep inside Fremantle's forward 50. Sturt, but at the back, Jack Henry takes a good mark and is quick to switch play out to Ollie Dempsey in the back pocket. Couple of bounces for Dempsey. Assesses his options. Just kicks high up the southern wing. Up goes Voss and does well to intercept the ball for Fremantle. So the Dockers have it back, attacking side of the southern wing. Scores level, 15 and a half minutes gone in the third term. Voss goes back to Clark, and Clark will switch the ball back to this northern side of the ground to Luke Ryan.
Ryan switches it further afield to Walker. Had to stretch for the mark. Couldn't take it. Close came in. Just overcommitted slightly. Walker broke the tackle. Delivers it further up the wing to Amos. Marks opposed to Guthrie. Waiting for an option. Plenty of numbers from both sides ahead of him. Goes short to Johnson, who sees something he likes in the pocket. Banfield leads up. Had to take it on the half volley. Handballs to O'Meara running past. The bend is coming back off the outside of the boot. Just not enough. Minus score. The Dockers retake the lead momentarily. 7-6-48 to 7-5-47. 16 gone. As the Cats bring the ball back into play. Wilson Humphries involved. I can't believe he's still out there. He landed on his head.
He did a full cartwheel, didn't he, through the air? I think actually landing on the Fremantle player softened the blow.
Well, if you're going to go up hard and compete in the air, if you can take out a couple of opponents while you do it, as Tui sends the ball out wide to right half back for Geelong in the hands of Jeremy Cameron. Game 250 for the superstar Cap and former Giant. Cameron goes short, set his teammate a task, comes down to Switkowski, he slaps it forward. Banfield wants his left side, feeds the handball wider. Frederick steps inside, touch ball into the forward 50. Cameron gets a hand to it, knocks it down to Atkins, comes back to Jeremy Cameron, a long way from home. Short kick finds Brian Myers at right half back. No one on the mark, so he's got time and space. Comes into the middle of the ground to Guthrie, back to Jeremy Cameron, who continues to run. Brings the ball out near side to Bowes. Steps around Young, back onto his right side. Bowes sends the Cats up to centre forward. Manor. Neal comes over the top. He can't mark. Gathers. Gives it off to Atkins, who's run down by Clark. Well, in fact, it was... it's a 50-metre penalty now. It was Mullen who was run down, the sub, onto the ground, and just taking a moment to adjust to the pace of the game, and he was run down by Jordan Clark.
Has he hurt himself here? Is he cramping, or it's early to cramp?
Does look a little bit sore here, Jordan Clark. Let's head downstairs. Bridget Lacey on the boundary.
Yeah, he's really sore. But whether it's... it looks like he's running it out now.
Jordan Clark.
Ankle maybe got stuck. Right leg got stuck in the tackle, potentially.
Handballs off to Ryan, who kicks deep inside forward 50. Taberner managed to move the pack out of his way, but the ball comes back to Geelong, and Holmes can clear outside defensive 50. Good mark taken by Stengel at right half back.
Stengel has to wait for numbers to flood forward. They've all pushed defensively, Geelong. They've been doing it all day. Flooding numbers back. He goes inside to Mullen. Handball to the run of Humphries. Normally good by foot. This time he kicks it up towards Manor. Clark overcommitted. Manor gets it out the back. Walker chases him down. Slips the tackle though. Handball over the top to Neal. Atkins tied in the pocket. Looks for something. Corridor. Cameron waits underneath it and marks. Cops a bit of late treatment from Sarong. No 50-metre penalty coming. But Cameron will go back. Set shot. 35 metres out. Slight angle to the right. They gave Manor a long time with the ball, but the tackle slipped probably just before the whistle was coming. Jeremy Cameron already has one today in game 250. 9-time leading goal kicker at the Giants. He's done it as well at the Cats. Kick on goal is not of the standard you'd expect from Jeremy Cameron. It's off the side of the boot and just scrapes through for a minus score. It is enough, though, to level the scores. 7-6, 48 apiece. The Dockers, through hands, bring the ball out to Sharp.
Sharp on the southern side. Draws a man and handballs over the top to Brayshaw. He goes back to Sharp. Sharp forward handball now. Finds Taberner. Brayshaw kept running, but the handball from Taberner set him a task. And coming over the top to spoil it out of bounds is Jack Bowes, the former son. Knocks it out of bounds and we'll have a throw-in. The attacking side of the southern wing for Fremantle. Scores level here at Perth Stadium. 20 minutes played in the third. It'll be Jackson and Stanley to resume their battle in the ruck. No clear win from the tap, but Dempsey gets the ball forward for Geelong and the ball tumbles towards half forward. Neal did well, disposed of Cox. then spun out of trouble and gave it off to Myers. Myers kicks inside 50. It's low, but it's good enough for Ollie Henry, who takes the mark, sliding low down, marking in front of Luke Ryan. And Ollie Henry can go back and kick on goal from 45 metres out on a 45-degree angle to the right.
Just getting a bit of momentum back, aren't they, the Cats, the last kind of 5 minutes. Good connection inside forward 50. They just need to make it count in a game that's pretty tight on the scoreboard. Got to make the most of your opportunities.
So Ollie Henry has already got one today to put Geelong back in front. Boot to ball from 48. And the cheers of the crowd tell the story. The Cats are in front, but only by one behind. They're 7-7-49. Fremantle 7-6-48. We're in the 22nd minute of the third quarter. Saturday footy here on ABC Sport.
Wagner from the restart runs out of the defensive goal square, kicks it up the wing. Fist came from Guthrie behind. Sturt had a fumble for the Dockers. Myers, terrific handball out of the pack. Got it to Dangerfield. Left foot Chisler. Henry couldn't mark. Punched away by Ryan. Neil onto it. The snap is a minus score. 7-8-50 the Cats. 7-6-48 the Dockers. 21 played in the third. Ollie Henry is very, very sore.
Fremantle exit to the southern side, and Frederick earns himself a free kick at left half back, just pulled down in the marking contest. So Michael Frederick decides he wants to bring the ball back inboard and goes backwards as well to Brennan Cox at fullback, who switches now to the broadcast side of the ground to Luke Ryan at right half back. Finds Sturt right on the logo of the broadcast wing, the bright yellow boots. Sturt goes short to Brayshaw. Still on the wing. So we see Ollie Henry now.
It's like a hip or glute or something.
Yeah, maybe lower back.
Brayshaw plays on, ran centrally, sets the ball up for Taberner. Geelong have the numbers. Ball at ground level. Taberner back on hands and knees. Gets it off to Young. He's on his left side. And the goal square is vacant. It's bouncing. But it's to the near side. Minus score to Fremantle. Ollie Dempsey had it covered anyway, so probably wouldn't have resulted in a goal for Fremantle, but they reduced the margin to a single point. Fremantle 7-7-49, Geelong 7-8-50. 23 minutes gone in the third term.
Tui with the kick-in duties. Game 286 for him. Straight up the middle. Dangerfield couldn't mark. Duncan spilt it at ground level. The Dockers win it back. Nice handball. Missed Sarong going inside the 50. The Cats, though, cough it straight back up. O'Meara gets it across to 5. Snap around the body from 40. Too much on it. Going back to he couldn't take the mark. The Stewart it was. Taverner spoiled it away from him. Was able to get it out in the end to Collar Jasny. Now to Manor. Myers beyond defensive 50. The Cats are out over the back. Dempsey has it on the wing. Marks. Plays on. Kicks towards Stengel. Going back. Terrific grab. Has players over the top. Has to wait now. The Freo numbers are getting back. Stengel kicks. Looking for the lead of Neil. And Jordan Clark, standing in the hole, was able to go back and take the defensive mark as he goes wide to Ryan. A clever little underground kick up the line to O'Meara. His kick to Amos. It was knocked away from the Freo forward. The Cats win it back. Bowes sends it in the Neil direction. He flies. Can't mark. Clark at ground level, immediately tackled. And the ball will be locked up and tossed up 40 metres out from the Cats' goal. Jackson v Neil. Neil came through with a knee straight into Jackson and gave away the free kick. So the Dockers have it back. 24 minutes played. The Cats lead by a solitary point. 7-8-50. The Dockers 7-7-49.
Risky kick from Jackson into the corridor, but Cox makes it work at centre half back. Feeds the handball off to Wagner, who affects the switch now to the far side of the ground where Jeremy Sharp has it. Sharp pops the kick up the wing and he finds Brayshaw on true centre wing. Brayshaw short again. On the bounce of Switkowski. Steps inside. Opponent was taken high by Mullen. So Sam Switkowski has the free kick. In the gap there, the shadow and the sunlight to the roofing here at Perth Stadium. He comes back to Wagner. Wagner goes corridor into the centre square. Brennan Cox. Switch out now to the broadcast side of the ground where Luke Ryan has it. He'll go inboard again. Jordan Clark. The edge of the centre square. Pops the ball up towards the top of the goal square for Fremantle. Big pack converges. Ball punched down. Voss gathers it in the right forward pocket. Attempts to fend off on Guthrie. Breaks the tackle once. Breaks the tackle twice. And centres the ball to Amos. Well done, Patrick Voss. Didn't give up on the contest. Guthrie came at him. Voss fended him off. Guthrie came back for a second tackle, and Voss managed to break it again. And then his kick to Jai Amos at the top of the goal square was pinpoint perfect. And Jai Amos can go back and kick on goal from 15 metres out, directly in front.
God, he's strong, isn't he? 2 big fend-offs straight to the chest. Great centering kick. Team first footy.
So Jai Amos, he's found his goal-kicking form again. Kicked 4 last week. Pops through his first of the afternoon. And the Dockers are back in front. Fremantle 8-7-55. Geelong 7-8-50. 7.5 minutes gone in the third term here at Perth Stadium. Saturday footy on ABC Sport. Let's head down to the boundary. Bridget Lacey.
Yeah, you mentioned Ollie Henry came to the bench and a bit of discomfort. He's in the wars because he's got a left hand injury, and now the physios are working hard on his lower back.
Sheer strength, wasn't it, by Voss? And tell you what, never seen someone celebrate a centering ball as hard as he did, and his teammates. Oh, but everybody appreciated. Everybody went to him straight away. We see the screen shot of Justin Longmuir as well. Was very happy with it.
He's had an almost day, Patrick Voss.
He's dropped a couple of easy ones. He's taken a couple of good ones.
The first time it's really just come off for him then, and Freo fans once again finding their voice. Ball back in the middle. Bounce. There's a wobbler. It favours Stanley, but the umpire will call it back. Fife, Brayshaw, Sarong in the middle for the Dockers. Stewart, Dangerfield, and Atkins in there for the Cats, and it's Dangerfield that wins the clearance. Kicks it inside the forward 50. Dempsey read it beautifully out the back. Draper stuck under the ball. Dempsey just read the drop perfectly, and in the end took it, well, it would probably be considered a contested mark, but really uncontested.
Yeah, he caught it well there, Mitch. Just read the flight of the ball, fell into his lap. Such a great young player, Dempsey. You mentioned at halftime as well, Shaz. Deserves a goal. He's worked hard today. His second goal, sorry. He deserves his second goal.
He's the rising star favourite. And he stands out in those bright pink boots. This kick, though, not his best. It's shallow left off hands for a minus score. So it does do enough to just cut the deficit slightly back to 4 points. 7-9-51 the Cats, 8-7-55 the Dockers. Late stages of the third term here at Perth Stadium.
Luke Ryan with the kick-in duties for Fremantle goes short into the right back pocket to Wagner. Ryan ran hard to make an option and gets the ball back from Wagner. Still inside his defensive 50.
Definitely going very conservative here, with obviously been told there can't be long left on the clock.
Ryan goes long up the line. Jackson flies high. Can't bring the ball down. Voss shows his strength again with a fend-off, but they've turned it over. Guthrie for Geelong. Dribbles the ball forward. Stengel does well. Turns Wagner. And luckily for Fremantle, the ball runs out of bounds. So that'll be three-quarter time. A quarter in which Fremantle kicked 3-1 and took the lead for the first time in this game. And they coughed it up but managed to get it back. And they lead by 4 points heading into the final change. It's Fremantle 8-7-55, Geelong 7-9-51.
The goal kickers for both sides so far through 3 quarters. The Dockers lead by 4 points for the Cats. They're all singles. Stanley, Cameron, Manor, Dempsey, Myers, Neal and Ollie Henry, all single goal kickers. For the Dockers, 2 to Caleb Sarong. Singles to Sturt, Clark, Jackson, Amos, Young and Frederick. 8-7-55 Fremantle, 7-9-51 the Cats. Join the conversation. Saturday afternoon footy on ABC Sport. 0437 774 774. This one from Neil says, enjoy the call, and listening in from Tokyo. Let's get Freo over the line and grab a top 4 spot. We appreciate it, Neil. Send in those texts. 0437 774 774. We'll be back with the thoughts from our experts in just a moment. This is Saturday Footy on ABC Sport.
Get a unique perspective on the world around you through ABC iView, like with Australian Story.
Notable Australians, amazing lives.
I got kissed on the arse by that rainbow, no question.
7:30.
What were you most afraid of? Never see family again?
Four Corners.
I think I'm done, guys. Are you walking out, really?
Nemesis.
They destroyed each other's governments. Politics is personal.
And Landline.
Once you've seen it, you can't unsee it.
Always free, always informative on ABC iView.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Walker on the receiving end, fires a pass to Brayshaw. Brayshaw releases O'Meara, runs to 55, kicks to the goal square, flying to the side is Jackson. The former rising star rises high, takes the mark, will kick from about 15 metres out, almost directly in front. Shouldering the ruck load in the absence of Sean Darcy today. Luke Jackson puts it on the scoreboard with a major. He gets his first goal of the day, his 19th of the season to Draper, coming past his Wagner, wants to use his run, delivers inside the forward 50. The leading target is Caleb Sarong. Coming out from the deep forward line, takes the mark about 45 metres from home, directly in front. Caleb Sarong lines up, set shot, 55 metres out, directly in front. How good is this guy? He's got two. Neil taps it down, clever tap from close, to Atkins, to Manor. Beautiful play by the Cats. As clever as it comes from the Geelong small forwards. And Manor, quick as a flash onto the end of it, finished it beautifully.
Ball punched down, Voss gathers it in the right forward pocket, attempts to fend off on Guthrie, breaks the tackle once, breaks the tackle twice, and centres the ball to Amos. For Jai Amos, he's found his goal-kicking form again. Kicked 4 last week, pops through his first of the afternoon, and the Dockers are back in front.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Here at Perth Stadium, it was the Cats by 13 points at quarter time, by 6 points at half time. Now it's the Dockers with a 4-point lead at the 3-quarter time break. After this, some of us will be heading off to Essendon v Gold Coast. Matt Clinch is standing by for a bit of a preview of that game. Clinchy.
Mitch, Essendon isn't giving up on finals just yet after Sammy Durham's winning point with 23 seconds remaining last week after they snapped a 3-game losing run with a 1-point win over the Dockers to sit 9th on the AFL ladder. They're 2 points outside the top 8 and looking in. They need to keep winning to keep their season alive, and that starts with the Dockers tonight, the Gold Coast Suns tonight under the roof of Docklands. The Suns story has been well told, winless on the road in 2024, and Damien Hardwick put his Chargers on notice following a 10-point loss to the West Coast Eagles last week. So 3 weeks for the Gold Coast Suns coach to work out about his fading Suns. Ben Hobbs will be the sub for the Bombers, while late change for the Gold Coast Suns with Sean Lemon is replaced by Lloyd Johnston. So David Swallow will start as the sub for the Gold Coast Suns. The Bombers have won their last 6 against the Gold Coast Suns under the roof of Docklands. Can't wait to bring it to you tonight alongside Jess Webster, Adam Ramanauskas and Luke Ball alongside Rory Campbell on the boundary. The Bombers and the Gold Coast Suns to follow you guys.
Looking forward to that clash between the Bombers and the Suns from Docklands after the conclusion of this match here at Perth Stadium. But it is the Dockers by 5 points, 55-51. Before we get to a catch of the few of the numbers, our experts here on ABC Sport, Mitch Turner alongside a Cash Fodder, we have Cara Antonio and Sharad Wellingham in the box.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting finish to this game. I think that Fremantle, to hold on, almost need to play a pretty boring retain the ball style of footy. They haven't done well when they've tried to, well, I wouldn't say they haven't done well. They've been restricted in trying to move the ball with pace, so they can't take the game on. They've almost got to let the game play out and just control the pace and keep the ball in possession. It's going to be interesting because that invites pressure. Because if you stuff it up or you make a mistake, you're more likely to get a turnover, because I think they're going to get closed down by the Cats. So it's going to be really interesting.
For me, I reckon it's just the efficiency going inside forward 50, especially that last quarter. Both kind of had even inside 50s. Both had 3 marks, but Geelong were only able to kick 1 goal 5 to Freo's 3 goal 3. So for me, it'll be the team that can make the most of their opportunities going inside forward 50 to hit the scoreboard.
And so much to You know, there's so much to play out from this, like with the ladder. It's an amazing finish to the season that we're witnessing. Fremantle winning at the moment, the live ladder puts them in 4th. But what other games we got this weekend?
They could drop to 8th if they lose, really. And
yeah.
Bulldogs and Carlton, Essendon.
It is tight. It is intense, and every single point matters.
Bridget Lacey downstairs on the boundary before we get restarted.
Ollie Henry starting this last quarter on the ground for the Cats after getting his lower back work done.
Keep an eye on him. Last quarter about to get underway here at Perth Stadium. It's the Dockers by 4 points. The ball goes up in the middle. Jackson saps it to Sarong. Looping handball back to his ruckman. Jackson dances around. Stanley has to kick on the left boot. Didn't get all of it inside 50. Switkowski went back. Couldn't mark it. Does the roving Johnson. He's kicked towards Taberner, and again he's found some space, Matt Taberner, and the kick hasn't been able to find him. It's out of bounds on the full. A couple of times Matthew Taberner back into the side, a late in replacing Sean Darcy. He's bound himself free, and the kick hasn't been able to get him. Kolajasny takes possession for the Cats, kicks up the wing, it beats all comers. Dempsey gathers at the back, gives it off to Stengel. His kick up looking for Ollie Henry, misread the ball. Cox got to the front, couldn't take the mark. Draper did the crumbing for the Dockers, got it to Sarong, and now to Ryan, the check side up the wing to Switkowski, reads the ball well. Is opposed to Holmes, 2 speedsters. Switkowski gets it back to Chapman, looping handball over to Johnson, runs into Dangerfield, breaks the tackle. Did well, did Johnson, fed it back to Chapman, he runs into trouble. Somehow gets away from Myers, gets a handball back to Johnson. The Dockers just running in circles, playing keepy off. All the way back to Ryan. Eventually the kick up the wing misses the target. The Cats turn it over and Holmes can't keep it in. They were just playing keepy off like a handball drill at training, the Dockers. And eventually it came somewhat unstuck. It's out of bounds for a throw-in right in front of the interchange gates. No change to the score a minute and a half into the final term.
I think that boundary throw-in just gives everyone a little bit of a breather after that. Dangerfield explodes away from the stoppage for Geelong. Kicks up towards centre-half forward. The race is on. Ollie Henry versus Sharp. Henry gets there first, but he fumbles under pressure from the Fremantle wingman. Sharp manages to scoop it up with one hand, but Henry lays the tackle and traps it in. And the ball will be thrown up by the umpire at left half forward for Geelong on the southern side of the ground. Fremantle still lead by 4 points. 2 minutes played in this final term. Stanley and Jackson. Stanley knocks the ball inside 50 for the Cats. Dangerfield onto it. Pushed off it. Fremantle win the ball back. But Walker has a fumble. He's under pressure now from Bose. Manages to get the handball away. Ryan's got a couple of beat. He's on hands and knees. Gives it to Draper. I think he just threw it up. Dempsey's in there too for Geelong. Comes to Walker. Back to Dempsey. Can't get a kick away. The ball is just bobbling around here. No one can get a clean handle on it. Eventually Ryan does. Gives it to Fife. Manages to get his arms free. Jackson, I'm not sure that was a handball, but it's a high tackle and he earns a free kick. Reece Stanley had him cold but just didn't execute the tackle perfectly. And his opposing ruckman, Luke Jackson, has the free kick deep in his defensive 50. Jackson now goes out to the southern wing. Standing in the hole there was Humphreys. He couldn't mark. Came to Stewart. Gives it to Jack Henry. Handball forward to Myers. Here's Jeremy Cameron. Another handball. Stengel's free in the pocket. Comes centrally and finds Ollie Henry. There were free Cats everywhere inside the forward 50. Henry was on his own. Dempsey was on his own. And in the end, Tyson Stengel assessed all options and brought the ball inboard to Ollie Henry, who will go back and kick for his second goal of the afternoon to put Geelong back in front early in the final term. Boos from the Fremantle crowd. Henry from 40 metres out on a 45-degree angle has missed to the left. He's kicked 2 behinds since that early goal, Ollie Henry. The margin now 3 points in favour of the home side. Fremantle 8-7-55. Geelong 7-10-52. 4 minutes gone in the final term here at Perth Stadium.
Short kick in to Chapman for the Dockers. Swings it wide to Clark. Had a pretty solid game in game 100. The former Cat coming up to disposal 26. Kicks up the wing looking for a target. Stanley got to the front. Couldn't take it, but Geelong sockered forward by Switkowski to Taberner. Switkowski tries to run away from Holmes. And he's caught cold holding the ball. He's quick, Sam Switkowski. but Holmes is quicker. Terrific chase down, pressure by the Cat. Now he runs away from Switkowski on the mark. Switkowski does enough to get a hand on him as he kicks it inside the forward 50 and floating across. Like he's done so many times throughout his 333-game career. It's Patrick Dangerfield. He'll go back, set shot, 35 metres out, 45-degree angle to the right.
Great mark, just floating across the pack.
No body contact either on him.
I'm not sure who was on him, but he's also had no body contact at a lot of these stoppages in the last quarter and running through unopposed.
333 games. He's kicked 331 goals. Add another to the tally as Dangerfield gets his first and puts the Cats back in front. 8-10-58 Geelong, 8-7-55 Fremantle, 5.5 played in the final term. Mitch Turner and Akash Fodor here. The Saturday footy on ABC Sport. Our experts, Cara Antonio and Sharad Wellingham.
Well, Walker was his direct opponent and just got caught watching the ball, kind of split-stancing, preparing for the ball to come in, and Dangerfield very intelligently points out the back and then comes back towards the contest and floats across and takes a beautiful mark.
It's been a high-pressured start to this last quarter. As we've mentioned, a lot on the line for both teams, so it's going to be interesting to see who can keep fresh legs on the ground, run on top of the ground and really be clean when ball's in dispute.
Fourth lead change of the afternoon. It's the Cats by 3 points. Blitzarves into the ruck for Geelong. Won it down and then recovered his own ball. Tumbles a high ball inside forward 50. Neal gets to the front. Ball comes down. O'Meara out after it for Fremantle. Worried out of it by Close. Chapman. And now Bowes and Johnson have to be separated by the umpire. So he'll be balled up in the right forward pocket for Geelong. Jackson reaches over the top, palms it down to Sarong, gives it off to Wagner. Wagner snaps it high out of the defensive 50. Kolajasny, Henry, and now Humphreys sends it straight back to the top of the square. Going back was Neal. He couldn't mark. Fremantle just trying to clear their defensive goal line. Out after it, Chapman manages to gather and break away from the tackle, and he just clears his defensive lines now, but it could be coming back. Guthrie dropped it. Blitzarves gathered it. Gave it to Humphreys. Humphreys lowers the eyes. Misses Atkins. Charging through, Jeremy Cameron takes... Oh, it was Neal, in fact, who takes a couple of opponents with him. Strong on hands and knees, couldn't get it out. Cox just toe pokes it out of there. But it comes to Tui, who slips as he kicks. It lands in the hands of Neal, but he can't mark. It's knocked away from him. And now Chapman clears defensive lines for Freo.
Taberner able to take the mark opposed to Kolajasny. Has players forward of the ball. Brayshaw running back, takes the mark. Feeds the handball to Frederick. Then gives him a block. Frederick straightens up and delivers to Amos. End-to-end footy from the Dockers. And it ends with a Jai Amos mark. He'll go back, set shot, 40 metres out, 45-degree angle to the left, kicking for goal number 2.
Geelong did so much hard work in their forward 50, but could not connect. And then...
Talk about the damn wall breaking,
wow,
wasn't it?
Yeah, Fremantle just slingshot it down the other end. Couple of strong marks.
The slip from Tui.
Wow.
The Dockers go end-to-end. Amos to put Fremantle back in front. It was close, it was tight. He put a fist in the air temporarily, but it misses to the left. 2-point margin, 8-8-56 the Dockers, 8-10-58 the Cats.
Amos thought he had that initially. Geelong exit out the southern side. Bowes from the defensive side of the wing goes up towards half forward. Ollie Henry in front, couldn't mark. Ball comes down. Draper gathers, handballs off to Young. He's tackled by Stewart. Now Johnson has it. Wheels around on the right boot and sends the Dockers back up towards half forward. Kolajasny nudged Tabner out well and then made sure he could get rid of the Dockers forward. Kicks back up to the wing, but Johnson intercepts and takes the saving mark for Fremantle. Just the defensive side of the logo on the southern wing. Johnson goes short and wider still now to Jeremy Sharp. Shadows lengthen across Perth Stadium. Just a little pocket there at right half forward for Fremantle, still in sunshine. But Sharp has it in the shadows. Kicks it high up towards right half forward. Wants Jackson or Taberner to fly. Jackson did fly, couldn't mark. Ball at ground level, picked up by Young. He's tackled by a couple of Cats. Ball comes free to Sturt. Feeds it back to Sharp. Kicks another high ball inside forward 50. Taberner couldn't mark. Ball comes to ground level. Now Sarong. Sarong snaps towards goal. And Sarong kicks it. That's 3 for Caleb Sarong. And what a season he is having. He puts the Dockers back in front by 4 points. What a goal, Caleb Sarong, snapping from 40 metres out. And Fremantle lead 9-8-62 to Geelong 8-10-58. We've gone 10 minutes in the final quarter. Saturday footy here on ABC Sport.
Big time moment needs big time players, and that was a big time play. That is a degree of difficulty again, as I said before. Yeah, to get that across the shoulder, to get that ball moving at that angle is just absolutely ridiculous. Great goal. His numbers are down in terms of possession today. I think he's still at the 19. Used to been having about 35 by this stage of the game, but he kicked 3 goals.
3 goals for the first time in a game in his career. Bridget Lacey downstairs.
Carl Warner, the sub, into the game for Fremantle. Matt Taberner's just taken his place at the back of the bench, so he's out of the game for Fremantle. And a record crowd for Fremantle today, a record home crowd against Geelong, 50,600.
Very strange decision to take Warner off. I thought he's been doing a remarkably good job. Was that an injury?
Johnson kicks inside the forward 50 out of the stoppage for the Dockers. Amos had 2 grabs at it, couldn't take the mark almost.
Oh, sorry, I was thinking Wagner. I was thinking Wagner.
No, Wagner's still out there. He's
doing a great job, Wagner.
Standing alongside Sean Manor just beyond this. Ball up inside the Dockers, attacking 50. Young came through. The handball looking for Sarong. Couldn't gather initially, then he was able to get a little handball to it. Tui chopped it off for the Cats. Gave it to Stewart. Looping handball looking for Duncan. Myers came through. Weaved out of traffic. Found close. Now to Blixarves. The Cats trying to run it off half-back. Mullen has it. O'Meara was closing him down. Got the kick-off inside forward 50. Ryan comes across, punches it away. Ollie Henry gathers. He's got a sore back, but he snaps around the body towards the goal face. Cameron can't mark. It's picked up and put through on the goal line by Neil. They grinded hard for it. Cameron spilt the mark. Neil was there to crumb the ball. And the Cats go back in front. Neil has 2. 9-10-64. The Dockers 9-8-62. The lead changes again. 12 minutes played in the 4th term. It's a cracking game of football here at Perth Stadium.
With the Cats coming through the corridor, probably for the first time really clearly for the game. Great snow. I thought that was going through.
Yeah.
Cameron almost takes a ripper mark.
And then he nearly got a boot on it from laying down on the ground, swung a leg. But Neil grabbed it almost off his boot and just popped it over the line.
Goal for goal in the final term here at Perth Stadium. And it's Geelong by 2 points. And the umpire will have to recall that bounce. Brett Rosebery, very experienced umpire, so he tosses it up. Stanley rises over Voss, wanted Dangerfield. And he receives a free kick. Held without it or high contact from Fife. Quick to move it on by hand, Dangerfield, because it Holmes. He loves taking a running bounce. Does so, kicks long for Henry or Cameron, who rises high from the back. Couldn't mark. Chapman on ground level, did really well. Got it off to Draper. Clears his defensive lines. Banfield in a one-on-one. Nudged out of it by Zach Guthrie, who has it attacking side of the southern wing for Geelong. He's still 70 metres from home. Pops the ball inside forward 50. Henry gets to the front. Cox rises up for Fremantle, and he might have earned himself a free kick here, Brendan Cox.
I think he paid the mark.
Been paid the mark in the right back pocket. Switches now to Luke Ryan in the left back pocket. Ryan goes for a run and puts the ball out in front of Frederick. Hits him on the chest. Frederick has it at left half back. Fremantle trailing by 2 points. 14 minutes played here in the 4th. Frederick just sets it up to the broadcast wing. Amos, Jack Henry comes now to Dangerfield. Handball to Tui. Tui wanted close. Warner wearing him like a glove. Close back after it on hands and knees. Warner all over him. Atkins comes in to lend support for the Cats. And like a rugby player diving for the try line, just gets it over the boundary line right in front of the Dockers interchange gate. So that margin is 2 points in favour of Geelong, 14 and a half minutes played here in the final term.
The big change for mine at the moment is with Tabner going off, they've had to put O'Meara forward. And I think he was doing a great job on that wing.
Ball tapped away from the restart by Stanley into the path of Dangerfield. Couldn't gather, was smashed off it by Wagner. Coming through Manor, doing his best to try and keep it in, flirting with the boundary line. And the boundary line won, so almost able to get past Brayshaw and send it inside 50. Here the attendance go up on the screen as Bridget Lacey told us, 50,600 in the house. Ball to be spun back in. Voss v Stanley. Stanley too big. Disposed of Voss. His kick though was smothered. Young gathered it for the Dockers. Spearing ball up the wing. Was looking for Sturt. Kolajasny read it well. Took the mark and now retreats defensively to Guthrie. Chip across to Jack Henry. Takes the mark in defensive 50. Goes wide to the outer side of the ground. Humphreys has the ball between wing and halfback. Spears it up the wing further. Had a target in Mullen. His short kick finds Myers. Has a runner coming past in Holmes. Starting to use his pace in this fourth quarter. Holmes delivers inside the forward 50. Cameron spilt the chest mark. Neil had a fumble. Draper gathers to the Dockers. Young, a little sidestep out of traffic. Gets it to Ryan. Does a sidestep of his own. Runs his 15 and kicks it outside the defensive 50 to the wing. And it's a terrific grab. Taken by Sarong, who was tunnelled as he marked it. Was able to hold on to it. And now has a runner coming past in Sharp. Takes a bounce. Kicks up towards a leading Amos, who takes a strong grab as well. The Dockers are holding on to the marks at the moment. He's a kick and a half from home. Between wing and half forward. Numbers flooding back again, so Amos has to retreat. And he goes back to Luke Ryan on the wing.
Ryan goes up towards half forward and Sharp has it. Still a long way from goal. Low pass and Amos leads up and takes the mark. He's still 60 metres from goal at right half forward. It's a crowded Fremantle forward 50. Amos wants someone to present at him. It's Voss who leads up, but the kick's just a little bit hot for him. Carries to the back where Dempsey gathers, gives it to Zach Guthrie. But good forward pressure applied by Caleb Sarong. He's everywhere at the moment. And he takes Zach Guthrie out over the boundary line. It'll be thrown in the right forward pocket for Fremantle. About 30 metres around from their goal. Geelong lead by 2 points in the 18th minute of the final quarter. Spun back in. Voss doing the ruck work against Stanley. Stanley wins it down, but only as far as Hayden Young. Handballs back to Brayshaw. Brayshaw from 50, kicks goalward. It's up, it's high. Guthrie takes a good defensive mark for Geelong. Got front position on Banfield and was able to mark on his chest. Now chips into the right back pocket to Humphreys. And Humphreys goes short up the corridor to Mitch Duncan.
Needs to use his experience here, Duncan. Runs a little bit of distance on the ground and kicks it in the air. So close. He runs up the wing looking for Stengland coming across and sending the ball flying into the 8th row. Was Jordan Clark in game 100. Ball in front of the interchange gates on the broadcast side. Bridget Lacey downstairs.
Shannon Neal came to the bench just a minute ago with a bit of a limp up. The physio's working on his calves now.
2 goals to Shannon Neal today. He's played a solid game up front for the Cats. Ball to be tossed in right in the middle of the wing. Voss v Stanley. Stanley just too strong again. Double fisted it out into space. There's no one there, but it rolls out of bounds in front of Johnson to the Dockers. Out of bounds for another throw-in. The Dockers wanted an insufficient intent.
It's a ruck contest. You can't be expected to. It's only if it goes out in the full, isn't it?
Yeah, it's automatic if it's out on the full, yes. So ball spun back in. Stanley, nice deft tap to Bowes. His handball, though, missed Stewart. Tried to run through Jackson. Was caught. That was holding the ball, and the umpire didn't pay it.
It's umpire Roseberry, too. Lots of experience.
He tried to step around in there, Stewart. Didn't get taken. Ball restarted again. Fife to Clark, to Warner for the Dockers. Now to Johnson. Back to Carl Warner, the sub on the ground. Dangerous kick back inside defensive 50. Gets it to Draper. His kick wide to Wagner. Has to gather on the bounce for the Dockers. Has support there in Sharp. Spun back around. Kicks it up the wing. Can't mark O'Meara. Spills off hands. Guthrie wins it back for the Cats. Kicks towards half forward. Cameron on the lead. Takes the mark. He's within range. The man on the mark standing right on the 50. And he's going through his goal-kicking routine. He's going to have a shot, Jeremy Cameron, for goal number 2.
They've set up really well behind the ball, Geelong. Just experience. They've got the genuine +1, and that's how they created the turnover there from the back half. Able to get a mark to Jeremy Cameron.
Cameron from 55 out. Sinks the slipper into the ball, and he can't quite make the distance. It's off hands, and eventually it's rushed through. So the Cats extend their lead by a single digit. 9-11-65. The Dockers 9-8-62. It's a 3-point margin. We've played 20 minutes in the final term. Saturday footy on ABC Sport. Wherever you are, don't go now.
Luke Ryan with the kick in and spots Brendan Cox on his own at left half back. That was a lovely pass from Luke Ryan. Cox chips over the top. Brayshaw still around half back. Handballs now to a running Jordan Clark. Takes a bounce through the centre square at Perth Stadium. Sweeps the handball over to Walker. Walker forward to Fife. Fife gives it back to the speedster and Walker. Now through right half forward. Kicks towards Voss, who dives full length. Can't mark. Blitzar's kept his feet. Managed to rove the ball, but his tumbling pass intercepted by Fife. He's just dragged off it. Then Walker gathers. Manages to shrug the Henry tackle high. And Brandon Walker will have the free kick. Just the attacking side of the southern wing for Fremantle. Wants to bring the ball back into the corridor and hits up Brennan Cox, more or less in the centre circles. He just handballs off to Luke Ryan, who pumps Fremantle deep inside 50. Can anyone mark this? No, the ball comes down. Slapped away by Stanley. Off to Jack Henry. Kicks to his brother Ollie, who does well. Gathers. Handballs to Stengel. He handballs up to Jeremy Cameron. There's just acres of space. Dangerfield makes a lead. Cameron puts it out in front of him. Dangerfield's going to run onto it. And he toe pokes. And he misses. Oh, Patrick Dangerfield, how have you missed that? Jeremy Cameron's kick was out in front of the Brownlow medalist, an 8-time All-Australian superstar. He probably had time to collect it in his hands.
He's hit the post, I think, and
there was a delay in
that
the
is
call.
he's missed.
It's on the other side.
He's actually missed.
That is the worst miss of his career, and he's had some bad ones.
He had time to collect it in his hands, Dangerfield. He went for the toe poke, and he was almost just running too fast to do it, and he's missed a golden opportunity to extend Geelong's lead further. Instead, it's just a minor score. One behind to the Cats. They're 9-12-66. Fremantle 9-8-62. 22 and a half minutes gone in the final term. Saturday footy here on ABC Sport.
Ryan brings the ball back into play. Blixarves takes the mark though for the Cats. They'll go forward again. Stewart runs past. Receives the handball. Kicks it back in the Dangerfield direction. Flies. Can't mark. Off hands through for another minus score. 9-13-67 the Cats. 9-8-62 the Dockers. 23 minutes played as they bring the ball back in quickly to Brayshaw.
Brayshaw handballs off to a running Wagner. In the red boots, he kicks it up towards the wing. 2-on-2 contest. Geelong win it down to the front. Atkins roves. Handballs back to Tui. Tui back inboard to Stewart. Another one of the headband Cats players. Ollie Henry slipped over, which allowed Jeremy Sharp to take the intercept at right half back. Handballs off to Walker. Walker wants Switkowski. It was just a little bit hot for him. Over the back, it's Mullen, the other Irishman. His handball puts Guthrie under pressure. The Fremantle crowd will hold the ball, and they get it. Advantage taken, and it's turned over. The ball is now back with Geelong at left half back, and in the safe hands of Atkins.
Just needed a bit more control there. Didn't need to blaze away. There's plenty of time left.
Atkins retreats back into defence to Stewart. Further back across his own goal base to Jack Henry, and now Blixarves at right half back. Seconds ticking down, plenty of time left though. Blixarves plays on, kick smothered by Amos. Warner able to gather the loose ball, then just coughs it up straight back to Geelong. Bowes has it, up the wing to Stanley, who takes the mark. Now the Cats have it. Amos thought it went out of bounds and just stopped.
No chase either.
Warner had no support. The Cats have won it back. Stanley has the ball. Once again, they go in the Dangerfield direction. And the champs got it. You could see it from a mile back. That's who they wanted. And that's who they got. Dangerfield will go back. He missed the easiest of opportunities just a matter of minutes ago. This time he'll kick from outside 50, tight angle to the right. He's got it in him.
Well, he's got it in him. Early in the game, maybe. Late, tired legs.
He's 34 years old. He's in game 333. To put his side on his back. The Cats skipper can't even score. He misses everything. And it's out of bounds on the full. And the Dockers have the ball through Ryan in the left back pocket.
Ryan plays on. Kicks the ball up towards the centre square. Banfield flies high. He can't mark. Brayshaw does the roving. He's well tackled by Myers.
Hanging off him.
Yeah, just wouldn't let him go as Brayshaw was running. And he couldn't get rid of it as Wolfie time is signalled on the big screen. Encouraging the Freo faithful to get up and about. Young handballs backwards to Walker. He's under pressure here from Henry. Manages to get the handball out. Nana with him, something hand to close. Back to Nana. Runs the on goal from 20 metres out. And he nails it. Sean Nana. What a story he is. Was playing in the VFL for Werribee last year. And now he's kicked the goal to put the Cats 11 points in front late in a top 8 clash against Fremantle at Perth Stadium.
Just come forward pressure, wasn't it? They were running in numbers, a wave of Geelong players all on the same page to keep the ball moving forward. The fend-off initially from Walker just slowed him down, and he had support all around him. Great finish.
So Sean Manor, his second goal, puts the Cats 11 points up. 10-13-73 to Fremantle 9-8-62. 27 minutes gone here in the final turn. Saturday footy on ABC Sport.
Huge goal. Could that be enough for the Cats? They lead by 11 points. They take it out of the middle again. Hard kick to half forward. Draper going back. Couldn't take the mark. Was able to gather for the Dockers though. Gave it to Warner. And now Ryan kicks it straight up the middle of the ground. Standing tall is Stewart. He's one of the best we've seen down back. He kicks it inside the forward 50 again, looking for a target. Off hands, Henry can't mark. Warner gathers for the Dockers. Gives it to Chapman. Needs to be clean. Goes up the middle to Young. Still inside defensive 50. Oh, trying to move it quickly. He missed Brayshaw the handball. Somehow he was able to go back and gather. Fed it back to Young. His kick towards Frederick was too hot. The young one in Humphreys gathers for Geelong. Handballs over the top to close. Just sockers off the ground towards Dangerfield. He kicks it past him. It goes out of bounds, but he gains a valuable 30 metres. And I think they may have done enough, the Cats. They were in front for the entire first half. The Dockers hit back. But they find themselves now, the Cats, with an 11-point lead. As the seconds tick down, ball spun back in. Stanley to the front, taps it towards the Brayshaw direction, who overruns it, gets a free kick for a hold. So the Dockers have the ball at left half back. They trail by 11 points. Brayshaw goes for the risky switch kick out in front of Walker. Has Stengel for company. Stengel works him off it, just pulled him off illegally. So Walker gets the free kick. Somehow doesn't get a 50-metre penalty, although the Cats player kicked it 40 metres away about 10 seconds after, and he does. The out-of-area umpire, I believe, has paid the 50-metre free kick. So time is off. Walker gets marched. How generous will they be? Very generous. He plays on, kicks inside the forward 50, over the head of Stanley and Jackson. Can't mark. Dockers come through. The Cats clean it up deep in defence. Stewart, reliable as ever, gets the clearing kick. Dangerfield going head-to-head with a 100 gamer. The Cats are coming in 2024, and they're not purring. They're starting to roar. They beat the Dockers, and they down them by 11 points to move back into the top 4.
We are Geelong, we're always on the ball. We play the game as it should be played, at home or far away. Our banners fly high from dawn to dawn, down at Cardinia Park.
The Cats get the job done. They come out west and they take care of business. They make it 3 straight wins in a row in the season. 10-13-73. They down the Dockers 9-8-62. 11 points the margin. The goal kickers for both sides. For the Cats, Manna and Neal, 2 goals each. Manna with the most important to seal the deal. Singles to Stanley, Cameron, Dempsey, Myers, Henry and Dangerfield. For the Dockers, 3 goals to Caleb Sarong and a career best from him. Singles to Sturt, Clark, Jackson, Amos, Young and Frederick. The Cats, as the live ladder sits, they are back inside the top 4. Time will tell whether they can stay there for the remainder of the round. But they've won 6 of their past 7, and they're hitting form at the right time. Before we finish our coverage, got about 20 minutes before we send you off to your various locations for this evening. Sharad Wellingham, Cara Antonio, they were challenged, the Cats, in that final quarter. They had to do it the hard way, and they found a way to win.
Yeah, I think that one's really... ramifications for Fremantle are massive. I think that one's going to really hurt. Really, really hurt. But it was an odd game, wasn't it? Because it was almost like Geelong dragged them into this game style where they were kind of stuck in mud almost. It wasn't really free-flowing. It was quite a dour... Or not like... Boring's the wrong word, but...
Well, it wasn't like the Derby, let's just say,
no,
a couple
but
of weeks ago.
Definitely not. But it was
how the Cats wanted it to be played, probably.
It was how the Cats wanted to be played, 100%.
Definitely for more time of the game than the Dockers wanted to.
Yeah.
They had the game on their terms, and especially when push came to shove in that last little bit, when the game was there to be won, you could tell that, I suppose...
They just couldn't go anywhere. They just kept kicking it to the centre of the ground. Geelong had numbers.
Well, they were set up very well. I mean,
so well.
Tom Stewart didn't have a massive game in terms of... I mean, he had 19 touches. He wasn't his impactful self, but he just... When those dying minutes, he just set himself in the right position, ordering... You could just see. They was just so well set up behind the ball. They've obviously been in this position a lot across their journey, and they just navigated that situation a lot better than the Dockers did, didn't they?
Yeah, so like even now, I haven't really looked at the stats too much during this game. But
7 in the last quarter.
Yeah,
there you go.
Only one player from Geelong's had more than 20 disposals.
Yeah,
which
is very even for them.
Oh, a couple in the end. They've just ticked over right at the end, or more than 20, I guess. Yeah, Brian Myers 23.
Yeah,
and then Dempsey, Holmes,
all had 20.
Guthrie, Dangerfield 20.
Danger
had 7 in the last quarter.
He was good as
goal.
well. He was very good in the last quarter.
Had a moment he would probably like to forget, but he made up for it by having a few important attacking plays after that. But the Cats, they trailed by 4 points at three-quarter time. So at quarter time, they led by 13, Geelong. At half-time, they led by 6. Three-quarter time, it was the Dockers by 4. And then in the final term, 3-1, the way of the Cats see them winners by 11 points. And it's a big blow for the Dockers, who slide down the ladder potentially this round. They were in the 4, they were 3rd just a couple of weeks ago. And right now, as it sits, they are going to remain in 6th, but with a potential chance to be 8th. Now, they can't fall out of the 8 this round, you'd think, because they've got a massive percentage gap on Hawthorn. So for the Dockers, they'll stay in the 8, but they've gone from potential double chance now to hanging on to a final spot with a tough 2 weeks. They've got GWS and Port. Big ramifications.
They're 2 big games as well, aren't they?
We see both sides lining up down near the players' race. Jeremy Cameron
still doing his media stuff on the boundary or on the centre wing at the moment, so they're going to keep him waiting.
He will get chaired off or at least clamped off with game 250 Sharab quickly before he does. As an opposition player, you just hate having to wait there when you've lost a game and you want to just get in the rooms.
No. Got to kind of recognise the opposition.
So Jeremy Cameron, both sides line up along the players' race. Mitch Duncan and Brad Close chair him onto the shoulders. 250 games for Jeremy Cameron, a premiership player with the Cats, an inaugural Giants, 3-time All-Australian, 2-time Ferris and Best winner, one at each club, 9-time leading goal kicker at the Giants, once at the Cats. Terrific player in the modern era, celebrating game 250 as the Cats just stopped shy of going down the race, as they will sign a few goodies.
WA cheer squad, won't they?
And there's a lot down in that corner. Sort of pre-game, plenty of Cats just by the players' race.
Look how many are down the other end. Which end's that? The
Graham Farmer Freeway end has got a couple hundred probably behind the goals.
The cheers were actually quite loud when the siren went.
Great support wherever they go, Geelong, and certainly here in the West. We'll try and get down to the rooms to have a chat with one of the Cats players, and they do make it down.
Do you know what I mean by it was kind of like a stagnant? And I said it before. Like, boring's not the right word, but it was a really dour kind of stale game.
It was 10 goals to 9. And as you said, for the Cats, in terms of disposals, they were 90 less disposals than the Dockers. So they grinded for their 10 goals at times. I know what you mean. It wasn't boring, but it wasn't free-flowing at times, but it also wasn't incredibly contested at times.
It was very strange.
Very unusual game, and that's exactly how you imagine the Cats wanted it to be played, because the Dockers love to use that forward handball.
They didn't want to let them free, did they?
And Geelong won the contested possession by 12 in the end, which was an area Fremantle were matching them at half-time. So you guys both spoke at half-time about the kind of game Geelong would want to make it in the second half, and they got their way in the end.
They won clearance as well, which, again, Fremantle have been known for their clearance work. No, Sean Darcy probably added another layer to that, but the inside 50s, 50 to 49.
Mark's inside 50, only 11 to 9. Same split.
Now the Cats, that win today is massive for them.
Massive.
Because they finished with St Kilda at Docklands and then the Eagles at home. So it's a weird season, but you almost bank those 2 wins now and say that's 8 more points. If someone else slips up around them, the Cats are certainly going to get a top 4 spot, because I'm probably going to give them those games as we look at it now. I'm assuming Carr and Sharrett...
Not the West Coast Eagles game.
Well, there you go. One-eyed as always, Sharrett.
You just never know this season, though. Like, that's the crazy thing. Anything can happen. We've seen some massive upsets this year already. That's why I can't remember a year that the back end of the season has been so exciting and the unknown.
Well, this one from Rich in Ocean Grove, he said he thought the Dockers had it won. He's a dyed-in-the-fur Cats fan. Are they contenders? He wants to know.
I think Geelong are always contenders.
Oh, Geelong, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Always contenders.
Definitely.
I don't know how Chris Scott always does it, but he always gets them around the mark, doesn't he?
There are teams that are peaking at the right time. Sydney, of course, have fallen off, but they managed to win last night against the Pies. The Lions were absolutely roaring around and have been done by the Giants, are in terrific form. So an 18-point win to them earlier today. And then the Cats are in terrific form as well. So wherever you look, there are just teams. The Bulldogs are playing brilliant footy as well.
6 of their last 7 for Geelong. So that's 3 in a row there. They dropped the game against the Dogs at home, which you wouldn't expect. But, 6 of their last 7 and, 6 of 8 since the bye.
Yeah. 6 of 8. They lost to Carlton by 63 points, and since that day in round 15 have responded with 6 of 7. We are standing by to go down into the rooms with Bridget Lacey, who will give us the song and then hopefully a chat if we can squeeze it in before we send you off to other coverage for this evening. Some of you will be heading off to the Melbourne v Port Adelaide game for those of you in South Australia. Plenty of you heading off to Essendon v Gold Coast, and then some off to the Olympics coverage. So we'll let you know where you are heading in just a moment. But the Cats are finally making their way down to the rooms. Bridget Lacey, we got you there.
You have. There's not a huge crowd in here tonight of family and friends for the Cats, but they'll certainly be celebrating this one hard. As you said, huge for their season. Patrick Dangerfield leads them into the applause. Max Holmes not too far behind. They're just going to circle up here. Paddy Dangerfield obviously knows a few people in town. He's having a chat to a few on the way through. Jeremy Camry's got a little baby in his arms. Very cute. Here we go. There you have it. Hopefully have a player very shortly.
We've got about 10 minutes left before we say goodbye from here at Perth Stadium. The Cats winners by 11 points. But as you heard, Bridget Lacey will do her absolute best to try and steal one of those Cats players away from all the celebrations downstairs and see if they can have a chat with us here. I can see Sharad and Cara very, very intently trying to work out the votes. And what was, to be honest, a tough, hard game.
It's so hard
to work out. I mean, the Cats won, but there weren't an incredible amount of standouts. The Dockers similar.
Well, I think
who's
I think Dangerfield, like that, and Ian Stewart, like we said in that last quarter, pretty influential over the result of the game. But like Stewart, you didn't really see too much.
We'll get the votes in just a second because Bridget Lacey has managed to grab one of the Cats players downstairs. Bridget.
That's a massive one in the context of your season, but never easy to come over here.
No, it's not. Amazing win. It's great. It's a great stadium. We love playing here, but it's tough. Freo, great team, and the way they go about it, they get through the corridor and they get really good looks. So probably defensively, that was our focus, and a cracker of a game to be part of, and cracker to be a part of it on the winning side, which is great.
And you had the hot start, and then felt like they reeled you back, and it was just really tight all game, quite dour. Was that what you were expecting?
At times, I feel like we do. It's a bit of an arm wrestle. Both teams focus on defence, so it's going to be a bit lower scoring, but we're able to get some clearances late in the game, have some intercept marks, and I'm looking at Danger here. He was amazing. So getting it forward and for Manners to kick the sealer was a great win.
And Jeremy Cameron's 250th today. I mean, he means an awful lot to this footy club.
Oh, it's amazing. He's an unbelievable part of the club, and to see a lot of his family and friends come over, make the trip, it's a big one for the guys to come over, but pretty special, and to get the win for his 250, very proud.
I don't like to say you've been fortunate because you've been such a big part of it, but just always feels like this club's contending, and you're daring to dream again this year now with where you position yourself.
I think it started far before my career even started. I think we're just trying to teach the young guys learn to win and learn to be involved in games, and whether we're bottom or top of the ladder, we want to always be in every game, and we're giving ourselves a shot again come September. That's the plan, and this win today goes a long way, so very happy.
I'll send you upstairs with some questions. Our experts today are Sharad Willingham and Cara Antonio.
Blix, Sharad here. Congrats on the win and good luck for the remainder of the season. Mate, we said during the call, it felt, and I think Bridge touched on it then, it felt like a really dour, and you dragged Fremantle to play a way that didn't allow them to get any free run. Was that what you recognised you needed to take away? Because you did a great job of it.
Yeah, they slingshot really well if you turn the ball over, and I think they run really well, their high forwards and their mids. They get through the corridor. So, there's a bit of a plan to try and clog that up. It's probably not the prettiest game to watch, but we'll take the win wherever we can.
Mate, we're trying to put some votes together, and we can't work. What's your opinion? We mentioned Danger, as you did, but who else kind of, from your point of view, out on the ground, was a really good contributor?
From our team, you see Pat going forward. Jez is 250th, give him a vote. And Shawnee Mann to kick the winner, so you can give him one.
No, also, mate, this is not about footy, but it's obviously Olympics time. I'm guessing you're big into your Olympics. What have you been watching?
Loving it, mate. We're pretty envious of the Perth time here. You get the better time. We're watching at like 5 a.m. and then 10 p.m. So I'm loving it, loving the track stuff. It's been awesome. USA, France, men's and women's basketball gold's going to be huge. So, envious. Wish I was over there if I wasn't playing.
Mark, Cara Antonio here. Congratulations on the win. I've always wanted to ask you this if we got you on air. Where is your favourite position to play on the ground? You're the best utility player in my eyes across the comp. Where do you love to play the most?
Yeah, I really enjoy being able to be swung wherever I can and help the coaches out with some of the headaches they get. But I'll say around the ball. I was obviously a defender today coming up with, not Jackson, obviously, because Darcy came out, but the other second ruck to play around the ball. So I really like those stints and to help Reece out or whoever our ruckman is. Probably that second ruck around the ball is my favourite.
Mark, appreciate your time. Chatting to Mark Blixars here from Geelong. I want to ask, you've got 2 games left, St Kilda and West Coast. Cara did ask, are you daring to dream this year, but are you pretty confident this side's got what it takes to win the flag?
I was sort of looking at the ladder today. I reckon there's 10 or 11 teams that could, but we're trying to put it all together. That's the plan. So, we look no further than next week. St Kilda on a roll, and at Marvel, they play really well. So we just want to put ourselves in a position to be coming into good enough form come September, and then we can see what happens. So, as I mentioned, this win goes a long way to that. But there's plenty of football left in the last couple of rounds to sort out the top 8, that's for sure.
We've got a little bit of time left, but you mentioned Jeremy Cameron in game 250, Mark, but when he was coming across from the Giants and you finally got the news that you'd landed Jeremy Cameron, one of the best players in the league, you take us back to a reaction of what it was like to get such a star join your football club?
Well, I was playing as a defender at the time, so I was stoked I didn't have to play on him. I reckon he kicked 3 bags of 5 on me. So it was really good. I didn't really know Jez until he came to the club, but everyone said he's a relaxed character and he's pretty special on the field with his talent. But he's just composed. He loves footy. He loves his family, and he's loving the footy club. So he's a great one to be a part of. And I think the people we draft, the people we trade for, we want to welcome them and they fit right in. And Jez is no exception.
It was a terrific result for you today. We might try and sneak your votes into our votes here up in the box. Zach Tui's been part of our coverage over East, so maybe we've got to try and get yourself on as well, Mark. We appreciate your time. Congratulations.
Cheers, guys. Appreciate it.
Geelong utility. I don't know what to call him because he plays everywhere.
Absolutely everywhere.
Down in the rooms. He's just a terrific performer, has been for a long time. He rucks, he plays wing, he plays back, and he can even go forward. He's probably the most versatile player we've seen in the last decade. He gave some suggestions about where the votes should go. You can take them, you can ignore them. As I said, Zach Tui is part of the ABC sports team in Melbourne. Mark officially isn't, but we welcomed him in today. Where are you going, Cara and Sheriff, the ABC Footballer of the Year?
I think for the game we'll go 1 vote P. Dangerfield.
It's talked into it, yep.
No,
it was already written down.
We had written that down.
Sure.
2 votes Sarong.
Yep.
3 votes Jay Clark.
Okay, so Jordan Clark gets the 3 votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year. 2 to Sarong, 1 to Danger. The Jeff Christian medal for us here in the West.
1 vote to Sharp, Jay Sharp.
Okay, so 1 vote to Sharp, 2 votes to Sarong, 3 for Clark in the Jeff Christian medal there. So the Cats make it 6 wins from their past 7 games. As the live ladder shows, they have moved up into a top 4 spot. They sit 3rd on the ladder on 56 points. Just behind the Giants are on 56 points as well, separated by just 2.6%. The Swans, 4 points ahead of them, up in 1st place. The Lions currently down in 4th with 54 points. Port Adelaide, though, with a game in hand, still to play the Demons tonight. They are on 52. So a win from Port will see them jump up to at least 4th position. But for the time being, the Cats sitting in the top 4, the Dockers down in 6th. Plenty left in the season, the closest season we've had all year. If you are just joining us, the results from earlier today, the Giants, well, they've moved up to 2nd because they had an 18-point win over the Brisbane Lions. The Eagles, well, they came from behind and they downed North Melbourne by 5 points thanks to a late Oscar Allen goal to make it 2 goals in a row for them. And here at Perth Stadium, as mentioned, an 11-point win to the Cats, giving them 3 goals, or 3 straight wins. And the Dockers, now 2 straight losses. Before we let you go, Cara and Sharad, we've spoken about Geelong. Are you concerned for the Dockers from here?
Yeah, I think that's a massive slip. Like
they're 2 tough games.
Double chance, probably out of the equation, I would say.
All right, there you go. There you have it. Sharad Wellingham and Cara Antonio. Well, you both played the game, and Sharad, you made it all the way twice, and you won it once. So congratulations. 3 times, sorry. We're counting draws now, are we? Replays. Thank you for your company here.
West Coast, we played in the grand final too.
That's right. You lost in 2015. You lost 2. Sorry, Sharad. Saturday footy on ABC Sport. Appreciate your company. Thanks to Akash, Sharad, Cara, Bridge, Sardi and Gianni, and Jesse back in the studio. The web streams are off to network production. The WA Regionals, along with Tassie, NC, you're off to Paris. South Australian listeners, you are off to Melbourne v Port Adelaide, and everyone else is off to Essendon v Gold Coast. But from Perth Stadium, the Cats are back in the top 4 for the time being, winners by 11 points over the Dockers.